Watch that myth go down. mystic, ancient secrets can all be answered when you ask the mystic access guru. That is I, the great exalted one. I have come across 3 astral projections through the god plane in the hero metamorphosis to give you the knowledge you deserve.
Hey guys, got Ryan Cooper, Moxie, Lisa, and Lindsay. Good to have you guys here. So yeah, this is thought I'd give a countdown a shot. I didn't like the music. But this is a tutorial on how to create a digital timer in Blender. So I'd be able to set the amount of time that I want on the timer and animate it and yeah, do some camera stuff if I want. But I'll be doing that. Um, yeah, do the connections for the day. All right. Um, Lifetime, Showtime, uh, Oxygen, Sundance? No. Huh. I don't know. Um, hmm. Karate Kid, Comeback Kid, Wimpy Kid, Sundance Kid. Yeah. Yeah, Diary of a Wimpy Kid. The only reason I know that is because in a store, or not a store, it's like a social services thing, like for childcare and shit. They have copies of Diary of a Wimpy Kid in the window because it's like a thing to get kids reading or something like that. Um, fuck. Still think these are fucking networks. Nutrition? What the fuck? Wait, sleep, nutrition, oxygen, water. Yeah, things most animals need. Okay. Uh, while, places. What the fuck? Hey, Moxie. Fuck. Lifetime. I don't understand what while. I don't get that. Curtain up. Action. Places. Showtime? Theatrical stuff? Calls to begin a performance. Blue Moon, Lifetime Generation, While. What? Once in a. Yeah, once in a. While. Lifetime Generation, Blue Moon. All right. Okay, so here we go. Get us all revved up for this awesomeness that we're going to encounter here. Hey, internet cancer. Ooh.
Sleeping Warrior, a shadowy flight into the dangerous world of a ball that does not exist.
And no, this is not a an episode of Mr. Bean.
Anthony Riley, a young loner on a crusade to champion the cause of the innocent, the helpless,
Look at his fucking license plate. It's flat.
the powerless, in a world of heliocentrists who...
I don't know. I'll cut it down to 50. If he wants to comment on the channel, it'll be $50. So
operate without credible evidence.
Ooh, such a manly man. He's like a international man of mystery. Yay! Yay, driving! Whoosh! Ooh, he's dangerous. It'd be funny if he flipped it. Yeah, run over the fucking camera, dipshit. Anyway. 12 citations that gravity is not a force.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll save this. I have a playlist. So this is oops, hold on.
Today we are going to create this digital clock which can...
Yeah, I want to mark that. I want to bookmark that before I close down the window. There we go.
You know, this guy here, he will be able to speak to you on your level about gravity.
So this is Sleeping Warrior, Anthony Riley. At something where he's flat smacking the world.
No, but I'm not asked that. It's not about the...
And these two people here are normal, intelligent human beings.
No, but this isn't my question. But this isn't my question. But this isn't my question. My question is, how do you believe in something that you can't accept? You don't understand yourself. You don't understand the concept of density. You can't calculate density, so then therefore how do you believe in the concept? I asked him, how do you calculate density? He said, I wouldn't know how.
I wouldn't know how. Right, so
Exactly, so how do you as a person understand something that you don't...
all right, let's go back.
Something that you don't understand?
Let's go back to the beginning. I've missed all this, haven't I? So just fill me in with the gaps. So,
But
we're
you were
talking
saying
about
that
gravity.
maths can't be used because it can't prove anything. But then we started talking about why things fall.
Maths can't prove a cause of an effect. Maths can calculate what you think will happen, but maths doesn't prove what's causing the thing to happen. Would you
So
agree
what
with
do you call... What would you personally say is the reason that things fall to the ground?
that? They're just more dense than the medium that they're in.
But then,
Which
how
is the
would you
concept of
but
gravity.
then
Then why down? No, why down? That's the question. Why down?
how would you figure out
Gravity
if
wells
something
work
is
by the
dense?
fact that you have something
How do you
denser
know
and
if
it falls
something is
within
more
it.
dense?
Two at once here, hang on.
Show us the formula for density and show us where there's a directional vector.
Sorry,
how would you know if something is more dense?
Well, you can tell by its movement. So if I got a helium balloon in my hand
Yeah.
and I let
You can tell by its movement.
go of it, is the helium balloon going to fall to the floor?
No.
Why?
But then, because it's lighter.
Right, not because it's being repelled by
But
gravity or
notice,
whatever.
I said it's lighter, not that it's less dense.
Okay, so
Because
what if it was filled with sulfur
Still being acted on by gravity.
hexafluoride? I'm assuming you don't know what that is.
I do.
Right, don't answer. If you know what it is, don't say. I've got a gas and this balloon's filled with sulfur hexafluoride, and I let go of it.
Hexa what? Their volume is really fucking low. Let's bring that up about 200.
Hexafluoride. I'm assuming you don't know what that is.
I do.
Right, don't answer. If you know what it is, don't say.
Do you say hexafluoride?
I've got a gas and this balloon's filled with sulfur hexafluoride, and I let go of it. Do you know what it's going to do?
I don't know the...
Yes, it's going to drop down. Sulfur hexafluoride will fall because it's heavier than air.
I don't know the maths. I don't know the numbers.
That's
so
okay.
I don't know its density.
So when I let go of it and it falls
Yeah.
to the floor, what do you then say?
I would say that it's dense.
I say that gas falls down, goes boom boom. That's what I'd say.
It's denser than air.
Right, and I would agree with that. But some other people
then
would
how
tell
do you
us that
calculate
gravity's
that?
pulling it down.
But then
gravity
how do you
pulls density.
but then how do you measure density?
Gravity pulls density. Gravity isn't based on weight. Because weight itself is based on gravity.
Okay, so-
Gravity is based on
So
density.
then we've got to go back to the definition of gravity. Do we understand so let's define the term of gravity, right? Are you saying that gravity is a force that pulls something, right? Is that what you're saying?
Depending on depending on several things, gravity wells are depending on what the density in the space-time continuum is pulling down upon.
Now we're getting somewhere. So basically, you're familiar with Einstein's concept of
Yes.
gravity, yeah?
Yeah.
He says that gravity
Yeah.
is the effect of the curvature of space-time.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and he also says that down is the direction in
He
which.
isn't.
No.
Yeah,
He doesn't
says-
say it's the effect of it.
Effect
He
of
says it's the effect on mass.
Yeah.
No, it's the effect of the curvature.
No,
of,
it's not. It's the
Yeah.
effect.
In the general theory of relativity, which best describes gravity as not as a force, but as a consequence of the curvature of spacetime caused by the uneven distribution of mass.
It's the effect of it. He says it's the effect on mass.
Yeah.
No, it's the effect.
Yes, yes. See, is the consequence of curvature of spacetime caused by the uneven distribution of mass.
No.
Yeah,
He doesn't say it's the effect of it. He
Effect of
says it's the effect on mass.
Yeah.
No, it's the effect of the curvature.
No,
of,
it's not. It's the
Yeah,
effect
it
on
is.
mass.
Google it.
Right, the effect on, yeah, we just saw it here, Riley, Anthony, you're wrong.
Because space-time is affected by gravity.
Yeah,
The
space time.
No, the curvature of space-time is affected by gravity. Gravity isn't affected by the curvature of space-time.
Yeah, you're right. You're
No,
right.
gravity
That's
is a
right.
constant.
That's right.
The cause.
That's right.
Your cause and
Gravity is created by the bending and warping of spacetime.
effect were the wrong way round.
Let's define that term. So the curvature of space-time
It's constant.
gives rise to what we perceive as gravity.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
No, it
we
doesn't.
we perceive gravity as the effect of curvature
No.
of space-time. Google it on your phone. Space-time.
What?
General
Sorry.
relativity.
General relativity.
Yeah, the definition of general gravity.
Gravity is the effect of mass. It's
No.
it's the force that affects on mass. It's then altered by the curvatures. It's then
Space-time can alter the mass of an object. It can't affect the force that is felt upon it.
Well,
Yeah.
Einstein said there was no force. Einstein said
there is a force.
No, he did.
Einstein said that the effect of the curvature of space-time is what we perceive as gravity. I'll read to you.
He said in general relativity it's not a force.
I wouldn't normally do Wikipedia, but for the sake of a straightforward, easy answer, right? Because it's not the best citation to use, there's better ones, but when I cite them, it just goes over people's heads. So what we'll do is we'll go, general relativity, according to Wikipedia, says, and I'll read it verbatim, general relativity is the geometric theory of gravitation published by Einstein in 1915, that's World War I, right? And the current description of gravitation in modern physics. General relativity General relativity generalizes special relativity and supersedes Newton's laws of universal gravitation, providing a unified description of gravity as a geometric property of space, time, and spacetime. In particular, the curvature of spacetime is directly related to the energy and the momentum of whatever matter and radiation are present.
See, he's put the word supersedes in there
The relation is specified by the Einstein field equations, a system of partial
because it doesn't supersede Newton.
differential equations.
Yeah.
Some predictions of general relativity differ significantly from those of classical physics. Differ significantly, right?
Yes.
Especially concerning the passage of time and the geometry of space, the motions of bodies in free fall, and the propagation of light. And then it gives some examples.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for. Here we go. Einstein's theory has important astrophysical implications. For example, it implies the existence of black holes, regions of space. I'm looking for where it says. Looking for the bit where it describes general relativity as the curvature of space-time. Maybe I'll have to search for space-time. Give me 1 second.
The curvature of it does influence.
It influences it, but it doesn't.
No, that's the effect. The curvature of space-time is the effect. But we perceive that effect as an orbit.
It's not. It's the other way around.
No, it's not.
It is.
Right.
Because
Einstein says.
because the denser something is, and the more mass it has, its gravitational.
Einstein says that the sun and the moon, or the Earth, the sun and the two bodies,
Yeah.
they have an interaction with each other that
Yeah.
curves space-time.
No.
No.
Yeah.
It's not. It's their mass and their density alters the curve of space-time, which
Right.
affects the flow.
Because if you picture
No,
this,
it's saying the same thing. No, it's
You're
not. Your
not.
cause and effects are the wrong. You're saying that because of gravity we have space-time, right?
No,
No, you're saying because of the curves we have gravity.
No, I'm saying that Einstein says that the effect on gravity is the effect of the curvature of space-time. That's caused by mass interacting with mass. I'm describing the effect that we perceive as gravity. That's what he says. Let me get the. Let me
That's
go to
not
space.
what gravity is. It is. Gravity isn't just the curvature, the curving of space-time. It's the effect of a force on mass.
Right, so reading from skyandtelescope.com, curvature of space. I'm just bringing up some on YouTube, just random one. Curvature of space-time. According to Einstein's theory of general relativity, massive objects warp the space-time around them, and the effect that a warp has on objects is what we call gravity. So locally, space-time is curved around every object with mass. So it's the warping of the space-time that is what Einstein says is what we call gravity. It's the perception that an object is following a curved path, but it's actually going straight. It's just warping space-time around it. That's what Einstein says.
Yeah, because it's the idea of a gravity well.
yeah, it's
Okay.
gravity one.
Yeah, you can apply that however. But my point is that that's what Einstein says gravity is. But the problem is we're told that an accelerating object, an apple for example, that falls from a tree, that's an accelerating mass.
Yes.
And by Newtonian principles, any mass that accelerates is subject to a force. Hence the phrase F equals ma.
Yeah.
Well, if Einstein says that gravity is the bending of space-time, my question is, what force is making the apple move?
Right.
Gravity, dipshit. Gravity. See, we experience the bending and warping of space-time on Earth as gravity, as the downward acceleration of objects.
That's because you're
crossing quantum mechanics with
there's
Newtonian
quantum mechanics.
mechanics.
and Newtonian mechanics. No,
Because they measure two different concepts.
Yeah. One.
See, they think that Einstein came along and all of a sudden Newton just didn't exist. That we no longer use Newtonian physics at all. That's what he thinks.
One of them is considered to be current science, and the
Both
other
are!
No, they're not.
Newtonian
Both
mechanics
are.
is used in basic science. I've
know.
just completed a science degree. I use Newtonian mechanics and I
have
use
science
quantum
A-levels.
mechanics.
Like,
Right, get your phone and look at the word gravity now and just say it.
No, but that's because there's a different gravity can be used
Newtonian
in
me-
different equations. There's G equals what's it? W equals mg, which directly relates weight and mass. And then you also have F equals what's it?
equals ma.
Well, no, because Newton also has another equation which explains quantum mechanics, and he still uses gravity in it.
Newton didn't know about gravity back in the day. He specifically
Newton
said.
came up with gravity.
Newton's the
Newton
one that-
knew and dropped the
Newton-
ball.
no,
He came with
Newton-
F to the MGH.
Newton wrote in his letters to David Bentley, he said, do not ascribe gravity to me. Literally said, I don't want anything to do with it. And 100 years later, gravity was...
So for him to not want anything to do
Right. Don't ascribe gravity to me because he thought that in order to move something, there had to be a physical connection. He couldn't understand that gravity is an invisible force. You can't be seen. It can't be detected other than weight. So he said, don't ascribe it to me because I'm not 100% sure.
with it, he must
You dishonest motherfucker.
have known about it, which you just said he didn't know. He came up with the equation of F equals ma. He came up with the equation equals
Are you familiar with the Cavendish experiment?
Yes.
Right. What
Yeah, Cavendish experiment fucks you up, buddy.
do you think the Cavendish experiment proves?
Nothing.
Nothing.
No.
Okay,
No
why-
experiment proves anything.
What was the Cavendish?
There's nothing. No experiment definitively proves anything. What it does is it provides more evidence.
Every experiment proves either your null hypothesis or your alternative hypothesis. Do you agree with that?
No.
No.
Because it
So
can,
what's the point of science then?
because it can
Because it
concur.
only encourages evidence towards a certain theory, but nothing can never be 100% proven. That's the whole point of science.
So what-
That's the whole point of why your whole argument, when you definitively go, no, you guys are wrong, we are correct, proves the fact that you're not scientists at all, because you're completely unaware of any other arguments or completely unwilling to accept any other theory,
Yeah, but
which makes you really bad scientists.
what do you mean when you say scientists? Because to me that means compliance with scientific method
People
by
who
the
search for
definition.
the truth.
No.
People
There's a definition.
investigate the laws.
Yes. Yes. You don't have to adhere to the scientific method to be a scientist.
Universe.
No, but adherence to scientific method
people
makes you a
who-
No, but
scientist.
okay,
No,
me personally, it's looking into the laws of the universe.
Yeah,
and by
personally,
you
I'm not
describing
asking
it as
personally.
It's
I'm not
people
asking personally, I'm
it's
asking
people-
generally. What
Now, if you want to be a paid scientist, yeah, you probably should.
is a scientist?
someone who
It's
discovers the laws of the universe.
No,
It's-
somebody that adheres to scientific method, that's a scientist.
It's
Anybody
somebody who
else-
tries to disprove.
Anybody else,
but they can't.
anybody else is a theorist.
Define science.
Define science as a study and the observation of the natural world through observation and
So if
experiment.
you want to look into the natural
Did you
world,
hear what I just said? You seem to have interrupted. I don't mean to be rude, but science is the observation and the study of the natural world through observation and experiment. That is science.
okay, so you're
Right. Yes. So all those, yeah, there he is. So I'm gonna need $50 from you there, Dick. We'll put you in a timeout for 5 minutes. So if I don't have a PayPal deposit of $50, you won't get a wrench. So
science.
Not my science.
No, okay, but okay, so what do you call this? You proving flat Earth?
No.
What's that? What do you call it then?
see, I've put you in timeout so you have time to go and deposit $50 in my PayPal account. The link's right there. It's pinned. So
Questioning what is the evidence that proves that the Earth's turning, that we've got
Okay,
gravity,
so
that
what
the Earth is
evidence are you
curved.
using? Are you using scientific evidence?
We're pointing out that this is not science, but it's believed to be science.
So what would you call it if it's not science or an
Pseudoscience,
art?
by definition, it's not adhering to scientific method.
Pseudoscience.
Yeah, by
So-
definition, it
there's-
doesn't adhere to scientific
But
method.
surely,
But what method are you using then if you're using scientific?
That's the point. Everything.
But what are you using?
We're asking where is the scientific compliant
what's
method
yours?
which shows that the Earth's
Okay, so
turning.
what's
but
your
then you're
theory of
disregarding
methods?
you're disregarding the science that proves it, and then saying where is the science that proves it?
No, what science proves that the Earth
exactly. Yes, you're disregarding the science that proves it and then asking where the science is that proves it.
turns?
I mean, angular momentum.
Right, so where does it get proven in science?
What angular momentum?
Yeah,
They,
that the Earth
by,
turns
by
with angular
experiments
momentum.
in labs, by using different equations, by
The
endlessly
ISS
testing.
observing it?
By,
Observing another planet who are spinning. If all the other are spinning, Earth
Yeah.
is
Right, with regards to
but the thing is, angular momentum is tested again and again and again, and it works.
Sun
angular
lights
momentum
work
is a thing, but it doesn't apply to Earth if the Earth isn't turning. And there is no science that
But
proves
they-
that the Earth is turning. That's my point.
There it is.
But how do you prove that it's not turning? What points
Because
you in
there
the
is no
direction?
science that proves that it is.
That's not what you prove, so by just going, oh, there's nothing there to prove it, so it must be the other thing. Because then you don't
We're
have
saying
anything
must
to
be the other
that.
thing. What we're saying is everybody accepts that the Earth turns once every 24 hours. And what we're saying
Yeah, the
is...
sun.
Yeah, we do.
That's the proof right there.
Right,
Because
but
it
you
appears
realise-
once every 24 hours.
Yeah, so you observe the sun, right? We can say that the sun's an observed phenomenon. Well done, that's step one of scientific method. The other steps involve making a hypothesis where you correctly identify a valid independent variable and a
Okay,
valid
so
dependent variable.
my-
You've got done. So
yes.
how are we going to prove that the sun is causing the Earth turn?
But
Because that's what I'm asking.
How do you prove that the sun is causing the earth turn? It doesn't. The sun doesn't cause the earth to turn. It doesn't, man.
How do we prove in science that the Earth's turning?
no, but the sun
The
doesn't
sun
necessarily.
Well, we have video from space, from the ISS, showing that it spins. So we have that. We also have sensory data from like a fiber optic gyroscope, laser gyroscope, stuff like that. Foucault's pendulum is a good way to prove that the Earth spins. There's a bunch of different methods. You've been told, man. You've been told.
Really cause the Earth turning.
You just said the sun.
No, that proves that the Earth turns. It doesn't mean.
So you just said that you just
No,
said
no,
No, no, no, no, no, no, no, no,
two
no,
different things.
no, no, no,
The
sir.
sun-
Just because the
the
Earth
sun-
turns doesn't mean that the sun is causing that. What it means is that because of the sun, we can observe that the Earth is turning.
Point taken, but my question is how do we prove in science that the Earth is turning?
Like maths, which you said
No,
isn't
maths
used, is it?
doesn't prove cause. Maths calculates an effect.
Okay, so how do you
observing
suggest we
another
prove it
planet.
then?
If another planet are
How do you
spinning,
suggest we prove
the
it then? What do you
Earth can be one
That's what we're asking.
exception.
Because all we have right now is maths.
Right, we have things that measure momentum.
So the answer to your question, Dick, is if you pay me $50, I'll give you a wrench, give your wrench back, so you won't get banned or timed out.
called gyroscopes. We've got ring laser gyroscopes, fibre optic gyroscopes, and we've got mechanical gyroscopes.
Yeah.
And these things can be used to measure momentum, right? None of them measure the Earth turning. All of them
Because
tell us
they're
that the
on the
sky's
thing that
turning.
is turning.
Yeah,
So if you're on something that's already turning, it's
Wait, what? What did he say doesn't prove it?
If another planet are
how do you
turning,
suggest we prove
the
it? What do you
Earth can be
expect?
on
that's
a
what you're asking. That's
Because
why
all we have right now is maths.
Right, we have things that measure momentum. They're called
Yeah.
gyroscopes. We've got ring laser gyroscopes, fibre optic gyroscopes, and we've got mechanical gyroscopes.
Yeah.
And these things can be used to measure momentum, right? None of them measure.
Right, the fiber optic gyro, the laser gyro, and if you have a good enough mechanical gyro, all three of those prove the Earth spins, dipshit.
The Earth turning. All of them
Because
tell
they're
us that the
on the
sky's
thing
turning.
that is turning.
They absolutely fucking prove it. They persist, dumb fuck. So you just lied, Sleeping Warrior. You just fucking lied. 13 minutes and 20 seconds into it, you told a bald-faced lie. Hey, conspiracy music.
So if you're on something that's already turning, it turns a sort of stationary thing because it can't measure.
So do you agree that a gyroscope maintains rigidity in space? Yes or no?
Yeah, but you can use a gyroscope.
So if I put a
If you put
gyroscope...
it on the floor, it won't calculate the momentum because it's in itself moving with it. So
Yeah,
the
that's
momentum of the thing is equal.
Well,
If, however, you've got one up on the earth.
That means you disagree that they maintain
You just fucking lied. Lied about the fiber optic and laser gyro. What a pathetical little man.
rigidity in space.
No, if
No,
they were
because
placed on
there
the
isn't a
ground.
certain.
Yeah, but the ground's turning.
No, but if you were to place it above the ground, it would calculate the momentum.
Yeah, but that means planes that basically fly around the globe constantly have to correct for
You have
the
to
curve.
take it out of the Earth's atmosphere.
No, dipshit, they don't have to calculate for curvature. All they have to do is fly level.
Out its gravitational potential to serve around it, like.
You don't need to be out of the Earth's gravitational
But you
potential
do
to measure the
because
momentum.
because it's connected through almost like a string.
But do you agree that the alternative interpretation of that indicates that we might not be turning at all?
No.
Why?
Because that's absolute idiocy.
But then also,
Like, I'm sorry to be rude, but
No, you're not being rude.
No, I
you're,
don't-
you're accepting the gravitational effect, the potential, is the reason why the gyroscopes are not measuring momentum. And I'm saying, but it can be interpreted another way, and you just dismiss that flippantly.
but then it's also because there are different ways of calculating momentum. When you're
Right, I'm not interested in calculating. I'm
But I
interested in
am because
Proving.
because you prove it through using maths because maths
No,
is a
you don't prove
constant.
cause in maths.
You do.
You don't.
You do.
Right. So, give me an example where maths proves cause.
What type of thing? Like
Any.
okay, you can.
You're very quiet at this point. Are you going to
No, no,
defend
no,
your friend?
no.
because I'm on his
Because
wavelength.
you can do it with.
So, okay. So, if you're both on the same wavelength, give me one example where maths proves cause.
It can prove the cause of the formation of black holes.
The speed of light.
Yeah.
Theoretical physics.
Yes.
Speed of light.
Theoretical physics.
Yeah,
Proven.
it's not theoretical because you can control it using the Chandra-Sekhar limit,
Speed of
which
sound.
which proves it.
Speed of
Maths,
sound.
maths can be proven, but it can prove the speed of sound. It was calculated by the speed of sound. You
Yeah,
can
but
also prove it.
all right, my question was, how do you prove
Speed of light.
cause? How do you prove cause with mathematics? And you said speed of sound. Then you said we can calculate speed of sound.
We did calculate the speed of sound.
I agree.
not the cause.
But that's not my question. My question is, how does math prove cause? Give me one example anywhere where math proves the cause
Astronomy.
of effect.
Astronomy.
Observational science.
Yeah.
It's not a cause and effect relationship.
No,
It's
it is,
observation.
no, it is because the cause of having a mass greater than the Chandra-Sekhar limit means that you can then predict what it's gonna form into.
I
That
agree,
is-
but that's not proving a cause.
No, it is. It's proving
No, it's
that
not.
It's proving that the cause of stuff like black holes, as opposed to the cause of neutron stars,
See, they're giving him science, and he's saying nuh-uh to every fucking bit of it. It's pretty sad.
is the mass relationship.
Right,
It literally
relationship,
proves
yes, it's
that.
correlated.
No,
It's
no,
not
no,
proving
no.
cause.
It is. It's proving
You're
it.
wrong.
It's
Wrong.
not. I'm using maths to show that if you have
Hey, West Side. Yes. Well, no, this is from 5 years ago. This is from 5 years ago, but I haven't shown it here before. So this is him, I guess, at Speaker's Quarter or whatever the equivalent is where they're at. And he's trying to gaslight these two intelligent people. I don't know who this guy is.
mass of a
To
certain
correlate.
size.
I'm asking cause. You're demonstrating correlation.
No, I'm not. I'm
You
proving
are.
that the cause.
You're not
of,
proving anything.
I am using maths.
No, maths doesn't prove anything.
It does.
Calculates.
It proves.
correlates.
Yes, math proves. Science doesn't prove. Math does.
It proves that when you have mass over a certain limit, it forms different things.
Do you agree that the scientific method is the definition of science? In contrast, non-adherence to scientific method.
No, the scientific method is not the definition of science. No, it isn't. It's a method we use to do science, so we have consistent results. But no, it's not, the scientific method is not science.
This is
No.
pseudoscience.
No.
Look
Because
at
the definition of science is
It's
the
so-
study of
it's
the
so
laws
much-
of the universe. And
So
not the laws of the universe.
if I get the definition of pseudoscience on my phone, it doesn't say.
I'm not asking about pseudoscience, I said define science.
I'm asking you, does science and the adherence to scientific method, is that important in this context that we're talking about? You have to adhere to scientific method, yes or no?
Yes.
Right, so
Because otherwise how would you measure anything?
right, so agreed, you get your dependent variable. So where in any science
And the scientific method can vary depending on what branch of science you're using, what the application is. It's not like you or QE or Nathan Oakley thinks that it's a strict regimented thing that can't be strayed from.
scientific experiment is maths, your independent variable.
Because you alter the value of
Because
x
you
in
can
a
alter,
equation.
yeah, you alter value of mass. That's how they proved F
That's your
equals MA.
hypothesis.
No, they then proved it
By doing what?
by experimenting it.
Right, but the maths isn't the cause. Maths is the calculation of the effect.
But any quantum
No,
mechanics
no,
equation
no,
that you've ever done is
acceleration.
it's done by mathematical
Acceleration is
proof.
the-
And that's why
Because
that's why quantum mechanics is a really highly debated topic.
In F equals
and it
MA,
replaced Newtonian
mass
principle for
isn't...
gravity as well.
But what if
You
it's
said-
so highly debatable? How come it's changed apparently, according to you, taken over Newtonian mechanics? It's so highly debatable.
Quantum mechanics.
No, the gravity to replace gravitational calculations in masses underneath the value of an atom.
Yeah.
Not anything greater than the atom. That's still used for Newtonian mechanics, so, it hasn't
so do the
overtaken
laws
it
of quantum
completely.
mechanics not apply to the rest of the world at a macro level, or do they still pervade?
No, not at the macro level. The macro level still
He just looks like Anthony looks like the physical embodiment of 5 o'clock shadow.
use Newtonian mechanics, only at the nano level would it be used for quantum.
So the answer to my question is no. You say quantum mechanics doesn't apply at the macro level.
Depending on the equation.
No, not depending on the equation.
No, but it is.
An experiment.
No,
No, but it is
Quantum
because
mechanics.
each equation includes a different value of x depending on what you're calculating.
That's
Quantum
why...
mechanics,
No, but
yes
isn't
or no?
that...
Quantum
no, but-
mechanics does not affect anything at the macro
It does.
level.
It does.
Oh, and keep in mind, this motherfucker is the guy that posed as 12-year-old girl, as a 12-year-old girl, to get in age-restricted social media platforms to indoctrinate kids. Hey, not buying your BS.
It does in
It
circumstances.
does because it's a
It
chain
does.
reaction, because everything's
Because-
made at a nano level.
So that
it's
means quantum
collective.
mechanics
But then as
pervades.
soon as you collect something, things behave differently because of the level of interactions that you have between other materials.
So it pervades.
No, it's not that one is superior
No,
to the other.
They're
It
both
just
used
said-
in
And he tried to get flat Earth taught in schools as a law. Like, he tried to get the law changed so that flat Earth had to be taught to kids in school. He's just a piece of shit. He's an indoctrinating, gaslighting, child fucking predator. That's what he is. He's a groomer.
in contingency with each
Yeah.
other. Because that's the only way it works.
They only work, and it's why De Broglie's hypothesis was so influential, because it was the first thing that linked quantum to Newtonian mechanics using Planck's constant. And that was the first moment people went, oh shit, these two could actually.
He's also been overheard saying that one of his debate tactics is gaslighting. That's a quote.
be related. These two are fundamentally the same principles of the laws
He got banned on Flatzoid's chat. Really? Really? Well, that's interesting.
of the universe at work. They just explain things in a slightly different way.
So are you saying
And yet mass is at the base of all of it, showing that both of them are correct.
that may well be the case? My question is quantum
How did he get banned? Why did Flatzoid ban fucking Roger?
mechanics different, not applicable or applicable to anything beyond the macro level? Yes or no?
It's not different. Quantum
It's
mechanics
not
is
different.
fundamental.
Right.
It's
That's
not-
my point. So
it's not
quantum
different,
mechanics
but it can be
replace
ca-
Newtonian concepts.
No,
It
because
can, because the Newtonian
Ointment.
concepts at a macro level, if we're talking macro, as in like astronomy and space, then you need the quantum because the masses get so large that they affect the space-time continuum and effectively alter different relationships between things that aren't just at normal levels. Like round here.
Feynman. Are you familiar with Feynman?
Yeah.
He said that quantum physics demonstrated that Newtonian principles of gravitation were wrong. Not a little bit out, they were wrong. So unless
at what level?
At what level?
quantum level,
And the discovery was made then in the discovery of quantum mechanics, first in the behavior of light and then in the behavior of matter, and finally culminating in 1926 with the full
Damn.
equation of quantum mechanics. which told us that the laws of motion of Newton were not right and had to be modified to other laws, which are quantum laws of motion.
Well, yeah, because you're talking about quantum mechanics. Like, at a quantum level, a particle doesn't behave in the same way that it does on a macro level.
No.
They behave completely differently, so you can't apply the same
How is that
theory.
true?
Because they've proved it.
Because a like a particle.
Let me guess, maths.
Because no, they've done experiments. They've taken visible observations. Young's double split.
Visible observations.
Young's double split.
So the whole thing is not Anthony Riley not understanding a fucking thing he's talking about, and these guys setting him straight.
Rutherford's gold foil experiment. Young's is double split.
De Broglie. The whole point of De
No, no,
Broglie.
no, no.
Double slit experiment.
Yeah,
Young's double split, where he fired a particle at a single slit and
Yeah.
got two
And got
observations.
diffraction because it behaved more
Because
like a
it behaved
wave
like
than
a
a singular particle.
So yeah, it behaved like a wave, and yet when Rutherford fired particles
that's
at
also
gold
called wave
atoms,
particle
it balanced
duality.
the particle.
What do you understand that the quantum, the double slit experiment proved?
Wave particle duality.
It proved that particles don't behave like, well, when you look at things like an apple, those particles on a macro level behave as a solid. However, when you go down to actual quantum, everything goes a bit mad, and you have a wave particle duality in which a single thing can exist in a double state.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I mean, Ant-Man taught us that.
true.
And that was then proved and observed. But it's not to say that when you're measuring, say,
Well, Wasp Girl, and then Ant-Man.
the weight of an apple or the acceleration of an apple, the quantum doesn't apply.
So what we've just been discussing, right, regardless of who's right or wrong, we've just been arguing about whether real-world experiments to do with atoms or whatever prove points, right?
Yeah.
But this started because you said that maths proves things, and I said maths isn't proving a cause and effect relationship, it's calculating the effect. Back to that point, can we at least agree that maths isn't a cause of an effect? It's a calculation of a result.
Maths,
Or a prediction, and it fits in with the hypothesis, not the independent
maths
variable.
can be used to prove an effect,
No,
but,
it can't.
but maths is an underwriting principle
Yeah.
that everything adheres to.
But it doesn't
So
prove the
surely
cause of an effect.
so surely by understanding maths, you understand why things work. It's like
Like
understanding French
biology,
language
like
helps you
studies the
understand
human body.
what people
Chemistry
speak
then
in French.
understands how the
It's the
chemicals in
same
your body
thing.
react with other
Say
physics,
that
understands
maths
how those
proves
chemicals make
That's
particles.
fundamentally
Maths
wrong.
explains how the
Maths is
particles.
numbers. You're painting by numbers.
Everything fundamentally comes down to
Maths
maths.
that everything adheres
No,
to.
it doesn't prove anything. All maths does.
There's a whole area of maths dedicated to proving.
Yeah, theoretical physics.
No,
that is.
no.
It doesn't prove cause.
Oh, god damn it, I want a cigarette so bad.
No, it proves stuff like n plus n equals n plus n, or that pq equals qp, and all these different algebraic things. It shows that there is a fundamental law to everything in the world.
Right,
And
so
then-
when we get-
and all the observations
apply
are
that.
basically trying to understand.
Let's apply what you just said. If I get something and I drop it to the floor,
Yeah.
it hits the deck and we can calculate how long it took and how fast it went and all that, right? And we can use maths to do that.
Yeah.
If I say, when we have the effect of something falling to the floor, let's just call that the number 4, just because 2 plus 2 equals 4. You can get to 4 by the object falling to the ground with 2 plus 2. But I can get to it with 1 plus 3, and you can get to it with 3
But that's
plus
why
1.
maths proves that.
No, it doesn't, because
No,
there's
hold on,
three
because
pieces to it.
that's the whole point of proving. The point of proving is that m plus n, so one constant plus another constant equals the same constant plus the same constant.
Right.
So what you're saying is effectively m plus n equals p plus q, which still works.
I agree with that.
Which what I'm saying is you can prove that the 2 I had and
Yeah,
the
so
2
my
say
graduate
inexperienced
was a
halfway
researcher
is what gave us the thing at the
for a
end.
while.
But you can also prove that the 1 you had plus the 3 you had equals the 4 when it hits the ground.
But you can only
maths proves that.
No, you can only prove that by proving it, not by describing it mathematically.
No, but
Right?
A squared
plus
maths
b
is
squared
true.
equals c squared, right? That's a lovely expression, and we can draw it and we can calculate it.
Yeah, on a
Right.
2D plane.
Yeah, but it only works if you demonstrate that that is true, then you prove that the maths is matching reality, and therefore you accept the hypothesis that a squared plus b squared equals c squared.
Yeah.
But it's only when you do that, then you can say, yeah, I've now proved that a squared plus b squared is equals c squared. But before you actually do it, you're just calculating it. But that's not science. That's
That's what I'm saying. Maths is an underwriting language that
Right,
is
but
fundamental to
but
everything.
science is
and
not
all,
maths.
no, and all science is it's applying maths. It's trying to figure out
experiments.
why
Science is
stuff
Be right back.
using maths to explain it. If they can prove it by math, it's like me saying,
No.
I can speak French and just making noises. What I need is then a French person to say either yes, that's correct, or no, that's complete gibberish. What you do
where
in
you're
science
going
is you
wrong.
come up. One thing you do in science is you say, oh, well, what I've got is d plus f equals 9 squared, and then suddenly you go to a mathematician and they say, well, no, because that plus that doesn't equal that. Or you sit there and say a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and then you go to maths, you try and apply it, you see if it works, and then maths either says, yeah, you're right, bang on, you
But it
proved
wasn't
it,
the maths.
or
It wasn't the maths that proved
no,
that a
but you
squared
used
plus
maths
b
to
squared.
prove observable.
No, you use maths to predict that
No,
that's what your result will be.
you
And when
said
you test
earlier,
it and you
you
get
can't.
it, then you say, I accept my alternative hypothesis and I reject my null. Because it's all about scientific method. The maths,
But then how do you
no,
prove
listen,
all that?
The maths only fits in the hypothesis stage where you predict your effect.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it
'Cause
does.
no, it doesn't. Because what you're saying is you predict something, and then you just
Maths
sort of
is an
find designed
independent
maths
variable.
that protects
Maths
it.
is not an independent variable. Do
No,
you
no,
agree?
but that's what I'm saying is where you said that effectively you do a study, you do an experiment, and then you sort of find the maths to work, right? That's sort of what you're saying.
No, you make an observation and you wonder what causes that. So leaves falls off tree, right? You wonder what causes it, and then you can calculate the maths is going to involve it in some way.
But you're saying
It
you
doesn't mean
can.
it's right.
No, no, but listen, you're saying you can do it. What a lot of people do is they try it, and it fails, and then they go, right, where have I gone wrong? Einstein didn't just come up
But
with
when you try
relativity.
it, that's the application of your maths, yeah?
No.
Yeah, of course it is.
No, when you're trying it, you're seeing whether or not what you're doing and what your ideas are adheres to the universal fundamental language of maths, which is unchanging. If it does, fantastic, you're more than likely to prove something.
Right.
What people then do is they then spend the next 100 years trying to disprove you, and when they can't, people sort of go, you know what, I think he's got it right.
I'm going to ask your friend, and I don't want you to interrupt your answer. Can maths be an independent variable in a scientific experiment? Yes or no?
Yes.
How?
Because you can alter an equation.
Yeah, but
The whole equation's
what's the
not
definition of an independent variable?
something that you can change in experiment.
Yeah, and it's the presumed cause of the effect. That's the key bit. It's the presumed cause.
Okay, but math, if you're asking that question of can maths be an independent variable in a scientific experiment, yes, it can. For the fact that
I just love the shit out of him, like posting all these citations from colleges and universities when every single one of those universities knows that the Earth isn't flat.
if you are trying to investigate what the mathematical equation is, you alter it so it fits your then equation, which in that case it would be an independent
But if
variable.
you're going to say that maths is your independent variable in a scientific method, I'm going to call you a fake scientist.
No, because that's
Would you
what
like to show my science degree to you?
But that's what I was saying.
No, it's not about your science degree. It's about whether you adhere to scientific method or not.
No,
If you don't
that's
adhere
what
to
I'm
it, you're not
saying.
practicing
Yeah,
That's
science.
what I'm saying. If you're trying
So
to
what am I
calculate something
practicing?
falling off a
Pseudoscience
tree,
by definition.
What's pseudoscience?
Non-adherence to the scientific method.
That's not. That's a pretty poor definition.
sorry, I really don't
I'm
want
gonna get
to
on to
shut you down here. But effectively, what you're saying there is what I was saying. It's the way that if you're trying to calculate something.
Guys, look, pseudoscience definition: a collection of beliefs or practices mistakenly regarded as being based on scientific methods.
Exactly.
Right.
So with
So if you're
science, if
telling,
something
listen,
falls
if
from a
you're
tree-
telling me your independent variable is maths, and I'm
No,
saying
it's
that
not always, but it can be.
No,
no,
it can't. It can't.
Just explain to me
It's a
what
cause.
What I'm saying
Maths isn't a cause. It's a
But what I'm
causative
saying is,
effect.
if you have something falls from a tree,
fake
and I
scientific.
go, force
I have a degree
equals-
too, and I'm a-
But it's like if an apple fell from a tree, and I said, oh well,
What's the cause?
the rate that fell was, I don't know, a force times.
Yeah,
gravity.
you can quote a number.
I could come up with anything, but that's not
Science.
That's not what science is.
Correct. That's pseudoscience.
The way you prove it is by somebody saying,
Prove
oh,
what?
I think it's that.
We're trying to prove the cause of an effect in a scientific experiment. We're not trying to calculate how.
you're
You're not
trying
trying to calculate how
you're trying to
fast it falls.
prove why stuff happens.
Yes,
effectively.
of course.
And so when I
To this dumb fuck, pseudoscience is any branch of science that proves him wrong.
say,
Cause.
oh, it happens because of this.
Yeah, cause.
Yeah.
And then the effect is the observed phenomena.
Yeah,
That's the
if I'm
dependent
just sort
variable.
of saying, oh yeah, it was affected, it was caused by this,
Yeah, where
but
does
I
maths
just
fit into that?
make stuff up. That's not using maths correctly, because someone will then come along and
where
say,
does the maths fit
well,
into
I've- because I can just make up maths. If you're saying maths is an independent variable,
Answer my question. Where does maths fit into your independent variable?
because the way I try and prove it is using maths.
No, you do the test.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. But because maths is a fundamental law,
Is it- no,
it's a language that it is correct. If you
No.
can find it, no, what I'm
Maths
saying
is a correlation.
F equals ma is correct. It's been proved billions of times. It is correct. So if I said F equals G omega, then someone would come along and say, well, no, because I tried that and I got this result. And then someone else would come along and say, well, actually, I tried it like this and I got this result, which is closer to yours. And then gradually
Alright,
people come together
so
and everyone
let's
goes,
do F-
well, I did an F equals ma and I got this result.
Right,
I did
let's
this
go
and
with
it
F
worked.
equals ma.
And suddenly you have a maths, which is an underwritten language which cannot be changed. And suddenly you realise that me going F equals G omega is complete nonsense.
Listen.
And the dudes who went F equals ma, they've got it right.
Listen, if
Because
let's
it cannot be
let's
disproved.
apply F equals ma. If an accelerating mass accelerates, it must be subject to a force.
Yes.
We can calculate that force. We know that that mass will fall at
Right, gravity. Gravity's the force.
that rate, and we can calculate that force.
Yes.
Can we prove the force exists just by calculating it?
Yes.
What else is it?
Yes. Because otherwise you have,
What happens if you get your maths wrong and you let go and it doesn't do what you thought you were going to do?
then you try it again.
No,
you
different
keep
than
going.
mathematics.
No,
you keep going.
No,
change
you
the maths.
And if it still
you
doesn't work,
you
you play
accept your
around.
null hypothesis and you reject your alternative
exactly, but
hypothesis,
that's the point of
science.
maths.
Oh, and then you
no,
just stop.
science, not maths.
Science is applying maths.
No, you're wrong. It's not applying maths.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Applying maths.
and so you play around with
Because
equations.
maths itself
Einstein
is a
didn't wake up
cause.
with one day and discover like
Have you got?
these
Do you have a degree?
Yes.
In physics.
I did what? I did A-level in physics.
Did you get a degree in physics?
I have a degree in quantum mechanics.
Quantum mechanics. So you guys are struggling with the independent variable in
No, we're
science.
not.
You are.
We're not.
It's not maths.
What I'm saying is
What's your degree in there, buddy? What's your degree?
If I agree in quantum mechanics, I think I know the difference between an independent variable is.
Yeah, you agree it's the presumed cause?
No,
not.
it's
You
not the
can just
presumed
change.
cause. It's
You
the
don't
thing that you change to explain the cause.
Yeah, it's the presumed cause of an
That's not
No,
the
it's
presumed
not.
cause.
Yes, it is.
The
Go on,
presumed,
citation.
no, the presumed cause is the dependent variable. dependent variable. Look at the presumed cause as the dependent variable. Look at the presumed cause as the dependent variable.
There's that one-upmanship. Oh, she misspoke. So therefore, she's absolutely wrong in everything, and Anthony Riley is the smartest boy on earth.
How you use maths. What I'm saying with maths is if you use it as an independent variable and you just kind of play around with it, sooner or later somebody will turn around and say, well, that's not right because I've found it like this.
It's
and
the
then
basic
we realise
fundamental of the universe is maths. That's evidently why anytime you plug anything into how our current law works, you can get a mathematical equation out at the end of it. That's not just like random convenience. Biology is explained by chemistry is explained by physics, physics is explained by maths.
Right, would you accept
maths is the fundamental.
Would you accept an EDU citation from an education establishment for an independent variable? EDU, would you accept it as a credible citation?
Sure, why not? But depending on what it's for.
Hold on. No, so no PayPal, so you don't get your wrench. So he's open game. He's free game, guys.
So I've just googled it. So this is the University of, I'm not sure where this is. UC, whatever USC.
That's the social sciences though. That's not the same thing.
Okay, well, so I can go to another one. Let's go to another one.
Yeah, not social science.
Okay, let's go to another one. It's a bit slow on internet, so bear with me. Come on.
The thing with maths is once you've found it.
It's not maths.
Once you've found it.
Independent variable presumed cause.
So say you're doing a computational experiment.
Sorry?
Say I'm doing a computational experiment.
Yeah. A computational experiment is not an experiment.
Why?
Because it doesn't adhere to scientific
What's the
method.
definition of experiment?
What?
What's the definition of experiment?
A practical demonstration of your cause and effect relationship. It's a hypothesis test.
Yeah, so if I'm doing it on a computer, how does that affect that? Because I'm still doing a practical...
No, you're not. You're computing a cause and effect. You're not actually experimenting. That's not. It's
Well,
missing.
experimenting is changing something to observe, to explain an observed observation.
Yeah, but if you're doing it on a computer, that's not complying with experimentation. Because
Why?
Because you're failing to manipulate your presumed cause
No,
in
you
your
are manipulating because
You're not.
you're
You're
changing
computing it like maths. You have to
No,
physically change it.
because you write your own code and your own equations.
Yeah.
And when they don't work, you sit there and think, right, what am I bugging
How
up?
does
Because if the math doesn't work, then you know your science is wrong. And so you keep playing around with the science until it adheres with maths, because maths is unchanging. Einstein didn't just wake up one day with one equation in his head that suddenly proved relativity. He thought about it, he did experiments on it. People like Kepler, people like Lenz, they all built on it. And then realised that actually it's correct.
University of Indiana got a glossary of terms and variables, right? It's just a dictionary glossary. I'll read what it says. Independent variable. Independent variable. The presumed cause in an experimental study. All other variables that may impact the dependent variable are controlled. The values of the independent variable are under the experimenter control. Strictly speaking, independent variable should not be used when writing about non-experimental or computerized designs. Presumed cause. It is presumed cause. That's why math can't be your independent variable. Come on, this is...
No, that's what I'm saying.
No, it's not. You were saying math can be the cause. You've just flip-flopped.
No.
That's a flip-flop.
Maths doesn't...
You've just flipped your position.
Maths isn't...
Maths is a fundamental of everything in this universe.
True, but it's not a cause in
No, but
scientific
look,
experiments.
Can I finish? Maths is the fundamental of everything in this universe. Everything can be whittled down into maths. As far as we can observe,
you can't
everything
do that.
as far as we have observed, everything that exists in this current universe can whittle down into mathematical equations. Whether you believe it or not, how many equations can be whittled down into maths? No, I'm finishing this point.
Yeah, but you're making a massive point. So let me respond to that.
No, because I haven't finished this point yet. You can respond to it once I finish the entire point. Can we whittle down into mathematical equations? Therefore, the mathematical equation is the cause of everything of the universe. If everything can whittle down to that equation, it's pointing out the cause.
Right, listen. You said everything can be whittled down to mathematics in the observed universe.
Yes.
Your first step in your scientific method is to perform an observation, observe a phenomena.
Yeah.
So if you're going to claim that everything can be whittled down to mathematics in observation, I'm going to say that's only the first step of scientific method.
Yes.
It's not the full procedure.
No, exactly.
You're falling short. To get it to be scientific, you have to go and then perform experimental tests, and you're not doing that based on observations. That's why astronomy is not science.
Yeah, okay, but...
It isn't. It's
It's
observation.
observing...
But no, it's not. It is. It uses maths. It uses experiments. It uses
Also,
People
nobody
experiment in astronomy.
CERN. They're using quantum mechanics to understand how.
Yeah, opposing faces of die add up to 7, dipshit.
How are they doing an experiment on the sun?
Because they're using quantum mechanics and then the maths with that, which they're then applying to astronomy and seeing if it works. And then it works, and then they know.
You have to,
But
you can't just observe and go, oh, there's the maths right there.
No, it is. It's one step of science. Yeah, but it's still science.
No, but it's incomplete. If you don't adhere to scientific method, you're a fake
But it's
scientist.
part of science. I'm not saying you
You've
stop.
observed something.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you stop. What I'm saying is you then go on and you try and figure out the maths.
How does astronomy go to the next step where you make a hypothesis, where you predict an independent variable and a
Because they
cause?
did it with gravitational lensing.
Right, gravitational lenses is what? It's an observation. yeah?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. They did it with gravitational
What's
lensing.
the
where they
cause? What's the cause?
Mass and the curvature of space-time.
Who wiggled it to prove that it was the cause of the effect that they claimed they were
Who
observing?
wiggled it?
You've got to manipulate your independent variable.
Who wiggled it? No, you don't have to manipulate the independent variable, dipshit.
Who wiggled the mass to prove that
because
it's the
what you do,
cause of the
I'm
muzzle?
not saying that you wake up one day, you come up with a formula, and that's it, bang, done.
Yeah, you did say that a minute ago.
No, I didn't. I never said that at all, because what you do in maths is you come up with something, and then you try and prove
Let's
it.
stay on gravitational lensing. You
Okay.
said gravitational lensing was science. I said they observed something.
Yeah.
What caused it?
Mass and the curvature
Right.
of space-time.
Who wiggled the mass to prove that that did cause the perception that you believe, the phenomena that you believe you're observing?
Lens.
The answer is nobody.
No, they did!
They didn't. Nobody did.
did!
So we can manipulate
Lens
mass.
did! Nobody manipulates mass.
Right, so it's not science.
They waited until an eclipse. That was the wiggle. The waiting till the eclipse.
This is a constant.
It's not science unless you can manipulate your independent variable. You're not adhering
Mass
to
is a
scientific
constant
method.
value. They proved that. E equals MC squared.
You have
E equals
to
MC squared.
manipulate- we've just
Einstein
read it.
proved that mass
We've
is a
just
constant.
read. We've just read. You've got to manipulate.
Mass is not an
No,
independent
because that's
variable.
not manipulating mass, that's just changing
That's
the
just
different
changing
type
it.
of mass that you're using.
If you just said-
No. If I take an apple,
Right,
I
let's go-
cannot
let's
change
go
the
back.
mass of that apple unless
Let's
I
go-
Yes, this dipshit thinks that if you don't personally manipulate the independent variable, it's not a scientific experiment. That's what this dumb motherfucker thinks.
look half of it
You,
off.
you said gravitational lensing, yeah?
Yeah.
And I asked what caused it, and you said mass. If
No,
mass caused...
causes the curvature of space-time, which
Yeah.
then affects how light travels. And then you use that using.
Right, so how did we prove that in experiment in gravitational lensing?
They use.
There were 3 stars that you can see without an eclipse. The spacing of those stars is smaller than the disk of the sun and moon. And they waited until they had a full eclipse to where the light of the sun is blocked out, and they could see the stars on the outside the sun. So the only way that they could possibly see those stars outside the sun is if the gravitational lensing effect of the sun affected the light and made it bend around the sun. I believe that's the experiment.
They build on. But that's one of the things where
The answer is nobody did
No,
anything.
there's one. That's where there's not a clear-cut answer because it's not
Adhering
science.
to scientific
No.
method.
Science isn't just one thing. You can't look at one
Science
thing.
is a method.
What they did is they took quantum mechanics, they took regular
No, science is not a method,
mechanics,
dumb
they
fuck.
put all of them together.
Science is not a method. The scientific method is a method, but science is not a method.
Come out with a mathematical
Into
formula.
big equations
Yeah.
that might
And then
work.
they made an
I don't know.
observation, yeah?
And then they observed it,
Right.
and it adhered to the maths.
So we've got
they
a
went,
phenomena. We've got
fine.
your first step. We've got the phenomena, gravitational lensing, right? So to prove that the phenomena is being caused by your presumed cause, in your case mass, we're going to do something where we
mass is
manipulate the
effect on
mass.
space-time.
We're going to do something to manipulate that mass to prove that the thing that we're looking at, gravitational
Not to
lensing,
prove, to see whether it works. 'Cause
So
telling
you're
me it
saying
works as well
correlate
now.
is science?
No.
Yeah,
You
you
don't
are.
correlate because correlate isn't.
So you've got to experiment. You can't
Yeah.
correlate, you have to experiment. So what was the experiment that
But
somebody
then
did
you
to
do
prove gravitational lensing?
gravitational lensing is more a theoretical side, because it cannot be. The thing is,
There's a
so
better
much
word
of
for it.
science
There's a
that
better
cannot-
word for
if
that.
you
It's
say
called
pseudoscience-
fake science. It's observing a phenomenon
It's
and
not.
not knowing what's causing
It's
it.
not. It's just admitting that you may not know it for certain.
Right? No, it's admitting that you can't manipulate it to prove a cause and effect
No,
relationship.
it's proving that you cannot know anything that.
See, these guys are presenting the information they've learned through years and years and years of education. And Anthony Riley is parroting QE and Nathan Oakley. That's it. That's what we're up against. Is a failed bus driver or delivery driver who tried to be a lawyer and failed at that. Tried to win a case in court, failed at that. He's just a puppet for Nathan Oakley and Quantum Eraser.
Be for certain until we get out there and actually look at it.
Gravitational lensing does not have any experimental application to comply with scientific method, but you think it's science.
But
And I'm
that's
telling you,
because
it's
no,
Yeah,
no,
it
it's
does.
not scientific method. It's just
I don't think
doing
it's too
experiments.
convenient, the fact that
There's
all
so
these
much.
observations line up with the maths.
yeah, correlation. You can calculate correlation.
But you don't think it's so
it's
convenient
not-
that over
it's not
hundreds and
just
hundreds and
doing
hundreds
one
and hundreds
thing.
and hundreds and hundreds
I mean, they did science to discover the planet Neptune, to catalog it and discover it. So you don't need you don't need a rigorous adherence to the scientific method to do science. Sorry, buddy, you just don't.
Listen,
It's proving the
99%.
same thing over and over and over again.
99% of all motor vehicle accidents are caused by people that believe that we live on a spinning ball. Does that mean that people believe that it's true? There's not many flat earthers are out there, is there? 99% of all motor vehicle
But that's not a
accidents
scientific.
That's a false equivalence. That's some fucked up statistics there, buddy. But see, that's all you've got, Anthony. That's all you've got. And Anthony Riley is fully aware that I'm live right now. So, and I've invited him to the chat to discuss shit. But I guess he's just a chicken shit loser.
Correlation.
No, that's not reckless driving.
But you're correlating. No, what I'm saying is there is a process that you have to follow. What you're
Yeah,
saying,
it's called
you're
scientific
just
method.
jumping to one thing.
I'm
What I'm
not.
saying
I'm going
is,
through the stages
what I'm
one
saying
by
is
one.
you observe it, you theorise it.
All right,
you
so
draw
if we
formulas,
observe,
but then you may
let's
not
do it.
get,
Let's do
get
it.
to the point
Let's
where
do it. Let's go through it. So we observe something we're going to call gravitational lenses, right?
Yes.
What's the hypothesis?
the
Mass causes.
the amount of mass of an object can warp its space-time, which then looking at something over a great distance means that you effectively bend space, you bend light around objects.
What's the independent variable?
Probably, technically in this case, your independent variable would be the mass of the object observed.
Great.
Because you would then use that to calculate the degree of warpage of space-time.
I'll accept that. And how did you prove that the cause of gravitational lensing was caused by mass?
By using quantum mechanics and observable physics.
Yeah, but that's not how you prove it in a scientific experiment, is
But
it?
then also, some
You don't
things
prove
haven't...
science with science. That's what you're saying. You don't.
No,
Using science, it doesn't prove a scientific
No, we do prove
concept.
things in science. You said before we don't prove things in science. That's not true. We
I
do.
never said they don't prove things
You
in
can,
science.
you can. What do you think the Cavendish experiment proves?
Nothing.
Nothing.
No.
Okay,
No
why-
experiment proves everything.
What was the Cavendish?
There's nothing. No experiment ever definitively proves anything. What it does is it provides more evidence.
No,
Using
you do-
science, it doesn't prove a scientific
No, we do
concept.
prove things in science. You said before we don't prove things in science. That's not true. We do.
I never said they don't prove things
Yeah,
in
you did.
science.
You can prove things to a
It's
certain
literally
degree.
recorded on there. I picked you up on it. We do prove things in science. I said we either prove your alternative hypothesis or you prove your null hypothesis. So we do prove one of them to be true.
No,
And
but
you
just
disagree.
because you prove something that... Okay, so if you
that
prove a
time,
null
it's proved.
hypothesis, or
Right,
you
so let's
prove
go-
one hypothesis... doesn't
Go with
mean you
water.
prove
Let's
it.
go with water boiling at 100 degrees Celsius at atmospheric pressure at the sea, right? That's never ever going to change. Do you agree? That is a
What?
Something that... Okay, so if you prove a null hypothesis, or
Right,
you
so let's
prove
go-
one hypothesis... doesn't
go with
mean you
water.
prove
Let's
it.
go with water boiling at 100 degrees Celsius at atmospheric pressure at the sea, right? That's never ever.
Water boiling at atmospheric pressure at sea. No, that could change. That could change. What you described here can change.
Going to change. Do you agree? That is a scientific fact.
In the certain atmosphere, yeah. Distilled water at certain
Distilled water, yeah.
pressures,
And we've proved that that is the
There you go. Distilled water.
boiling point of water. That's where we get our scale from, the boiling point of water. That's never going to be disproved by anybody ever. It is proved by science.
Honestly, probability, no. But there is...
It's not where the original scale came from. At one point in time, we went by a scale where the boiling point was lower than the freezing point. That was a weird one.
Probability of anything can happen.
But,
If you go into that
but
stuff.
the problem is it's not proved by science, it's
What's
proved
the
by
pro-
maths.
Yeah, but what's how remote is the possibility of something else ever changing to change the boiling point of water?
None, because it's proved
Right.
by maths.
So it's proved. No, it's proved by science.
It's not, it's proved by maths. It is because you know it is because you look
All
at the
science
kinetic
is
energy.
maths. If you're
Right.
really going
Science
to that,
is
all
science.
science is written by maths.
Science is the process, the observation and the study of the natural world through observation and experiment.
natural world
It doesn't
is
say
maths.
maths. It does
Maths
not
is
say
the
maths.
language
Okay,
of
no.
What's the
everything.
definition of maths?
Expression by numbers.
No, it isn't. Because what about E equals MC squared? None of them are numbers.
So what? It's still.
They're constants.
Hey, whale panties.
Yeah, but my point is that I agree with you that you can
the reason-
describe the effects of a phenomenon
You would
mathematically.
prove that water boils at 100.
Watching Derpy Derp. Yep, watching Anthony Riley make a fool out of himself. I can't believe this is like still up after 5 years. He made a mistake. He made a statement like 3 minutes in. Said the fiber optic and laser gyros didn't detect spin. That was funny. I thought that was funny. But yeah, he's an idiot.
You don't have to
Why do you
observe
do
that.
maths?
Yeah.
Because there's maths.
You do have to observe
There's
it.
maths.
You do, because that's
No,
your
if
first
I've
stage.
never observed the temperature at which water boils at, I could in turn
I've
myself
never sat there
calculate
with a
that.
kettle with a thermometer in it.
Well, if you don't observe a phenomena, then you're not complying with the first stage of scientific method. But you're claiming science.
No, but what I'm claiming is the fact that you don't have to observe something to be able to calculate it.
Yes, you do.
But you don't, because I
You
could.
have to observe a
Because if I
phenomenon.
was to say, like, I don't, right, okay, say I'm the first person who wants to know how much water boils at. I first want to do that.
But
I
in
don't have a thermometer.
But in scientific
sit there
method,
and calculate.
in scientific method, you must observe a phenomenon because you're dependent variable. Do you agree?
No, because you don't have to observe to be able to calculate it. People think
No,
about
that's
things
not what I said. That's not what I said. In scientific method, you have to observe a phenomena because your phenomena is your dependent variable.
You don't have to observe it.
It's your first stage of your
You don't have to
scientific
observe
method.
it. You don't have to observe
That's
it.
bullshit. You're wrong.
But it's not, because I'm giving you an example.
Go on then.
Right, water boiling. I've never sat there and observed.
So
I've sat there and looked at
you've
water
got a
boiling.
degree in quantum physics.
No, but you're not letting me finish my point. What you are doing consistently in this argument is that we start to make a good point and you just go, no, you don't do this, no, you don't do that.
I've listened to everything you've said,
no,
and I've
haven't.
counted everything you've said.
No, you've talked over me quite consistently, actually.
Because you don't understand scientific method.
No, because I'm trying to make an argument.
Oh, and also number 42959 is open game.
I think I'd probably. What's your degree in?
Well, given that,
That's Dick Wayne.
given that I'm
What's your
arguing,
degree in?
hang on,
Tell her about having a degree and a master's.
What's it?
Just bear with me. Given that I'm battering back everything that you say to me, what would you logically infer, mathematically calculate?
No,
what
what?
do
You
think
don't
my degree
batter
is?
everything back to me because every time we.
They have TJ Maxx in England. You know you can get the max for the minimum.
I've asked you several questions, just like this one. What was your degree in? No, don't want to answer that question because it would actually prove the fact that I know more about scientific.
Well, you don't even know the first stage of scientific method, and you claim you've got a degree in quantum mechanics, and I said
Well,
that's
I probably
bullshit.
do know more considering I have a dissertation
What's the
in
first
science.
stage in scientific method? And you're
How
saying-
many scientific papers do you have? I have 2. How many do you have? That have been
Answer
published
my
by the
question
Bristol
first.
Society of Chemistry?
Answer
I
my
think I
question.
know more about that.
Answer.
I will. I'll come to it. Answer my question first.
why
and I'll
a
answer yours. Why is it that you can't tell me the first stage of scientific method?
I do know scientific because there isn't
First
a
stage.
definitive first stage of scientific method.
So you
scientific
disagree?
method is abstract concept of just like I
So
want to know
you
this.
disagree that observing a phenomenon
You
is...
don't have to observe it.
Right, so what do you have
Questioning
to...
it.
So she's starting to get a little peeved that this dumb motherfucker here is questioning her intellect.
Question of phenomena.
Yeah, question of phenomena.
You
So
don't
how
have
do
to
you
physically
question
see
it?
it.
This guy's standing in front of a fucking flat earth table.
Phenomenon if you don't observe it?
Okay, so I've never personally seen a star die. Never personally seen it, but I want to go, I wonder if those stars died.
Right.
Or is stars real or alive?
All right.
Never seen that myself, but,
Right, but you have seen
couldn't
stars.
calculate it.
So you have seen stars. So you do have the phenomenon of things twinkling in the sky.
Okay, I've never seen a neutrino.
Neutrino. Right, let's go with an atom. Let's go with an atom. You've not seen an atom.
Yeah, I have under an SEM.
Really? You've
Yeah,
seen an
because
atom?
of electronic microscopes.
No, well, as far as I'm aware, nobody has ever seen an atom. We believe that we see how it
No,
interacts.
you've never seen an electron. You've been able to see the mass of an atom for hundreds of years now. Evidently run those experiments.
So what you're saying is
Use
that...
electron microscopes
Groups
to
to
view
see
that.
atoms.
so the-
You can't see an electron orbits, that's what you can't see, it's different.
So you can see an atom?
You can see the mass of protons and neutrons collected together.
Can you see an atom?
Yes.
You've seen it yourself?
Yes.
Through an electron microscope?
Yes.
As far as I'm aware, and I might be wrong on this, science is not, physics is not my area, but as far as I'm aware, nobody's ever seen an atom before.
Physics and science isn't your area, really? Huh, you could have fooled me, man.
Well, that's a load of bollocks. This is I can take you up to the University of Liverpool right now and show you one.
For all intents and purposes, an electron microscope photograph is the same as a optical photograph. You're just replacing electrons or photons with electrons.
Okay.
You wanted.
So Mike, to answer the original questions, what was the first question you asked?
What's your degree in?
I did my degree in straight law, and I specialise in evidence.
So, okay, evidence. So would you
And yeah, he got a degree.
not agree that social science and the way evidence goes along in a social construct is completely different to science because yours is an arts degree, to you a bachelor's of art?
No, it's an LLB, it's not a Bachelor of Arts.
He claims to have a degree in law, but he doesn't understand the concept of burden of proof.
What is it then?
LLB.
So what's an LLB example?
Straight law.
Okay, so
It's
mine's
not-
a
it's not
Bachelor of Science, so I think I'd rather know more about how to conduct a scientific experiment than you will. I presume I conducted many more scientific
you don't
experiments
think-
than you have.
you don't-
Look at the presumed cause is the dependent variable. Look at the presumed cause is the dependent variable. Look at the presumed cause is the dependent variable.
I don't think the first stage of scientific method involves observing a natural phenomenon, and it's
No.
literally everywhere you look.
No, because Einstein's theory of relativity, he didn't observe relativity. He didn't observe this level of, because you can't see on a quantum scale. So how did he think of the concept of quantum
That's
mechanics?
why- that's
you can't
why-
observe it.
That's why
You thought about it.
That's why Einstein's a theoretical physicist. And theoretical physics, without
That came out to be proven in practical experiments.
No, it's never been proven. Give me one example where Einstein.
Didn't you just say that like quantum mechanics is overtaking Newtonian mechanics in the modern physical world?
According
And if
to
it had
Feynman-
taken
according to
over, then
Feynman-
it must have been proven
No,
to some extent.
according to Feynman, it replaced Newtonian mechanics because
Only
proved
in
that
one
he was
area.
wrong.
Only
No, see, you're wrong there, Anthony. And you know what proves you wrong? The yellow highlighted paragraph. Remember that on the paper that you brought to Jose JG's live stream when he came there? Remember that? You brought this thing. It was a thing from Albert Einstein, and on it was a paragraph where he said, "I could never replace Newton, could never supersede Newton. His work is too valuable." Remember that? Remember that, Anthony? Oh yeah, that's when you like first blocked me on your channel.
in one area.
Yeah, the main area that he
No,
wants-
because there were so many different ways that gravity.
I'm able to comment on his channel now because this is a different account than when I got blocked before. So
Interact with things
Right.
and the way it acts. You can't just say the idea of gravity has changed.
Einstein's theories was based on his own theories in his mind. They were a mental construct that he
That he
formulated in
proved
maths.
with physical experiments.
Name one.
That he
We've already
did
had
himself.
gravitational lensing. Yeah, but name one. We've had gravitational lensing. There
I
was
can't even
no
want to name
manipulation.
himself. Just go down to CERN. Everyone in
CERN,
this
right, so what's-
Higgs boson. They're the formation.
gravitational lensing experiment. Gravitational lensing experiment.
The Optical Gravitational Lensing Experiment, or OGLE, uses gravitational lensing to find planets outside our solar system. This Polish project, based at the University of Warsaw, also helps map dark matter and study the Milky Way's structure.
That's not exactly what I was wanting.
But Einstein predicted that this is not always the case. Light travels through space-time, which can be warped and curved by massive objects. This means that light should also bend and curve when it passes near these objects, a phenomenon known as gravitational lensing. This effect was first observed in 1919 while analyzing starlight during solar eclipse. British astronomer Sir Arthur Eddington found that starlight that passed very close to the sun was very slightly offset in position as compared to the same starlight while measured at night. During solar eclipse, the sun's light was blocked, allowing the astronomers to see starlight pass very close to the sun. This observation was one of the first major pieces of evidences supporting Einstein's theory of general
That was close.
relativity. Today, with more powerful telescopes,
See, that's how we know.
It's not what we found exposed on based on Einstein's theory of relativity. Like, just a proof.
See, it's been measured, Anthony.
No, it's not. It's a mathematical construct. It's
Okay,
theory of
so-
relativity. It's maths.
But it's written in maths, and that maths has not yet been disproved.
Maths is conceptual, right? By nature, it doesn't
No, it's
exist.
not. No, maths is a
hasn't been
fundamental
disproved.
language.
What?
Maths
But Anthony said nuh-uh. QE said nuh-uh.
No, hold on. Maths is not a concept. Maths is a fundamental language.
Concept, yeah.
No,
Concept.
And then QE said, get the fuck out of here.
it's not a concept. It's a fundamental
Language.
existence.
Language.
It's a fundamental language which everything in the universe abides by.
Well,
It's that simple.
everything in the
We
universe
just-
can correlate.
We just no, it all abides by it. We just have to find what the
formula
different
is.
things are.
Yeah, I agree with that, but that doesn't prove that it's the cause of the effect that we believe we're looking at. Einstein's gravitational lensing, we just established that the cause was supposed to be maths, but nobody was able to manipulate it. So what we did was we correlated what we received, and we said we can calculate this, so therefore this is what it is.
But effectively, what you can say is the cause of everything, which you can almost prove through maths, but not quite because it's solid. No, that the cause of everything is this Big Bang, which then set in motion all the fundamental forces, all the interactions,
All right, so
and
the
laid
first-
out maths. And so
the first-
everything now
all
is
right.
just an overshot
All
of
right,
that.
the Big Bang. Do you agree that the first law of thermodynamics states that energy can neither be destroyed nor created?
Now this is the thing, because in the Big Bang, we don't know what came before.
So we have
So
to guess.
no. So this again, it's not proving. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, but the point is,
what
there's a
it-
Big Bang that you accept is why we're here, right? In essence, that's what
Yeah,
you're saying.
my belief,
How did
yes.
that energy create? Where did that energy come from? When energy can neither be created nor destroyed? But there was a Big Bang, and all of a sudden, over a long period of time, energy was there, but it wasn't there before because it didn't bang.
But it wasn't
So
stored
how
in
did
the
the energy?
But that's a
Do you
theory. But then
understand
there's
about
one
the theory
theory
of the Big
that-
Bang theory?
In which it's
there's
a very
a-
big
Stephen
topic.
Hawking's.
Yes, I understand generally.
Yes, so you understand the fact that it did start with a singularity.
It did start with
It started with a singularity singularity, which contains.
That's the claim, yeah.
Yeah, so but you just asked, like, where did this energy come from? Came from singularity.
The singularity is the idea, but also but then people have theorized a lot of ideas that, a little bit. But then it's also like, there's also a theory that there was the Big Crunch, which led to the Big Bang. And so, no, exactly. But that sort of stuff will always remain theoretical. Because you can't necessarily prove it because we don't have the maths.
Right, so let's go back to gravity.
We don't have the maths to prove the Big Bang, whereas we do have maths to prove
maths doesn't prove the Big Bang. What proves the Big Bang is the Big Bang.
I just said that. I said that maths can't prove stuff that happened on that magnitude that long ago because at that point, the forces of, as we would say, the laws of nature didn't necessarily apply because you didn't have.
Let's bring this back down to earth. Let's bring this back down. What's gravity?
Yeah, but can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Why don't you believe in gravity?
Because it can't be demonstrated to be true. We can't even define it.
But what you described,
I can give you the maths for how much wind would be
using
needed for that
observations.
true.
No, but that's the thing, that's what I'm saying. There you go. And then if we use maths to explain that, it would work.
So when he drops that, you're saying that the cause of that was gravity, yeah?
Yes, the force acting on that was gravity.
Why do you dismiss the fact that it's heavier than the medium it's in?
Because when you look at the maths, everything relates together.
The maths, right? But he's just dropped that, right?
Yeah,
but
because
maths
if you say
prove that what's causing that to go down.
Okay, so then why do things float in a vacuum?
Why do things float in the vacuum?
Yeah, because
hold on. Well, can I make this point first? Because we've got this has a fixed mass, fixed volume, agreed? That means it has fixed density.
Correct.
So now, when you apply this to maths, you know there are certain constants with this that are just never changing. Now, if I drop this, it's going to fall at a certain speed.
9.8 meters per second.
That will then stay constant.
So but that's in a vacuum, right? No, it's not constant. It's medium dependent. Because if you drop that in water, it's
no,
not.
I never set a number on it. I just said it will fall at a constant rate. It will fall at a constant rate.
No, constant rate is different to a constant speed. You're misunderstanding. A constant rate is going to fall at a constant rate, whether it's like this or whether it's like this.
Whatever it is, because it
will only fall at that rate in a vacuum.
No, I'm not saying it will fall at 9. I'm not saying it will fall at total velocity. I'm just saying it will fall at a rate that will be constant every time I drop it because of fluid dynamics, because of all these different externals that aren't changing. Now, so then we start applying that to the maths, and then you look at F equals ma. We know that for whatever reason, the dynamics and everything, it's falling at the same acceleration every time I drop it.
And what is the little g? What is that?
That's no, because in F equals ma, there is no g.
F equals ma. What's the acceleration in that?
No, this is what I'm telling you. So effectively, when you look at the mass, F equals ma, the mass we've discussed is constant. The acceleration rate every time I drop it from this height, that's falling towards the ground with exactly the same acceleration rate.
Okay.
So then we look at the F and go, what force? What is making that drop? But then if you look at F equals mg, is that right? F equals mgh, then the height I'm dropping it isn't changing.
So I've got a question for you there, buddy. Where's up? What's the top of this? This is a cross section of the globe. Where's up? In relationship to the letter B. Where is it? Can you explain that number, Dick? Where is up? Where's the top of this?
So that's a constant. We can get rid of that. Mass we've already discussed is a constant, so that doesn't matter. So now you have F equals G. And then you go, well, what the hell is this other thing, this G, that we've come up with? Because you'll suddenly realise, because when they did the maths originally, they would have done mass times height, or height divided by mass. They would have done all these experiments to try and figure out what is the observation behind all this.
That line you just said, I'll come back to.
Okay, and again, I can drop this and go, why isn't my maths showing this? Because the maths wouldn't work without this G constant. So now we've figured out F equals, what was I saying? F equals G. As we've realised that you now have an equation which, when you cancel everything out, G equals A. I don't know how sitting there, oh shit, what the hell? And when you cancel the maths down, you...
Yeah, this is 5 years. This is 5 years old, Cygnus. Hey, what's up, buddy?
Realise that you have this constant value that isn't changing, and that is gravity. Right. And then you can apply that to everything, and you realise that the reason shit bolts is because of G.
Right, so I'll listen to everything you said, and I'll wait patiently for you to finish. Okay, yeah. You said in the middle of that, there's a load of experiments that have been done to prove something. That something is what I want to ask. What is gravity? Let's define it before we start talking about proofs. What is gravity?
Gravity is the warping and bending of space-time, and we perceive that as a downward acceleration.
It's the pull on...
Mass attracting mass.
It's effectively the effect on mass which pulls it in a certain direction, which is also related... It's not something that's so easy to define.
Right.
Because it applies...
You can prove it, though, right? And we're struggling with it.
Because you prove it with maths.
No, you don't.
So if you're walking down the street and you feel a wind on your person, and Do you know where that wind came from? No. Can you prove what created that wind? No. But you know for certain that it blew on you, right? Can you measure the amount of pressure that was put on you by the wind that you can't explain? Yeah. So you can measure it, you can quantify it, you can create a directionality, you can tell which direction it came from, right? Now we can extrapolate that a high pressure encountered a low pressure and created a wind. We can extrapolate that. But because you didn't hear any like truck sounds, we can pretty much assume that it's not a big semi truck that passed you by and blew you. Blew wind on you. So, see, we can experiment with the wind and we can find out what the origin of the wind is, but we can't really explain completely where wind comes from. Same way with gravity. we know how it we see it here on Earth, and we kind of know how it's created in a way, but we don't have to know. Don't have to know how it's created or what it is. We can measure it.
I just did. I just used all the maths.
We can use our knowledge of it to our advantage.
I cancelled it down. You found out it's a constant that exists.
An observation.
An observation for me.
Somebody
If I was if you were to, so how can you explain the fact that if you were to stand directly next to the pyramids, for example, something of much heavier mass than you, why does time slow down?
I didn't hear the second bit. You stood next to the pyramid to what?
So something that's much greater density, much greater weight than you.
Pyramid,
yeah. Why does time slow down?
Why does we're applying Einsteinian gravity
But
states?
why does it?
We don't use Einsteinian gravity here on Earth, dipshit. We don't. We don't use Einsteinian gravity in our every day-to-day doings.
Are you on Lorentz contraction? It doesn't actually do it. That's explained mathematically, but not evidently in real
No,
world.
but it has been. So you can go hold.
So give me an example where Lorentz contraction has been demonstrated to be true. Not maths, real world.
Yeah, this is from the good old egg days. As a matter of fact, yeah, if we go videos, here's this one, and then just the one right before that. It's the one right before that. Oh, you can't see that, can you? Yeah. This is the one we're watching. This is the one we're watching, and this is the one where he did his egg thing. So, pretty funny. But there was one thing I wanted to show.
Beautiful, Sean. So where does the globe come in?
Before we shut down.
Beautiful, Sean. So where does the globe come into it? Why do you think you're on a globe? Where's that even come into it?
Well, the angles to Polaris prove it.
The angles to Polaris?
Prove what? That we're on a globe? Using a sextant that measures straight baselines?
No, that only a 1 degree per 69 mile drop is possible on a sphere. Not possible at all on a flat Earth.
So that's absolutely what we see in all cases. Every 1 degree away from the GP, away from the 90 degree angle, is 69 miles.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're going to stand behind.
Right.
What happens when the star gets below 15 degrees to the horizon?
Well, within about 10 degrees, it starts getting all wonky from the atmosphere and refraction. So we don't go by at the horizon. But throughout the evening, from sundown to sunup, yes. Or if you go back like to 0 at the equator, and if Polaris is really low, no, we wouldn't go by that. We would just go by its general direction. But yeah, as long as it's above like 10 degrees.
And we do not see 1 degree drop per.
Yeah,
Yes, we do. Up until like 10 degrees above the horizon, we see a 1 degree drop per every 69 miles.
Yep. Absolutely. If we did not see that, then nobody could set up an equatorial telescope correctly.
Fantastic. So refraction's not a thing now below 15 degrees?
Yeah, it is. But when you're looking straight up, when you're looking up at a higher than 25-degree angle, refraction isn't a problem.
No. I'm talking about lower than 15 degrees here, Sean. You're saying that this holds true no matter what the observation is. Below 15 degrees, is there no refraction?
No, there is refraction, and we do see that in where the star is in relationship to where we're standing. But it's only when it gets near the horizon.
Right. Your rotational point, Polaris, will be at your latitude, north of the equator, and a little bit south.
What about below 15 degrees? What about measuring
absolutely.
something below 15 degrees?
Yeah.
Is that moving at 1 degree per 69 miles?
No, Polaris doesn't move.
Yes, if you move 69 miles away from north, that will move down 1 degree in your sight.
So when it goes from, say, 10 degrees to 9 degrees, you're going to measure a 1 degree drop if you move 69 miles?
Yes, if you are at 9 degrees latitude, Polaris will be at 9 degrees above the horizon. That's an undisputable fact, and it's not possible on a flat Earth at all.
Fantastic, Sean. That we have been trying to trap you into this for so long.
Prove me wrong.
Oh, we will. Don't worry. We've got the video.
Oh, okay. So what is this?
And here it is again.
What is this thing moving through the sky? Is this what you're talking about? This right here? That's moving? That's not Polaris?
At 1/4 speed. Now, if you look carefully at the leading...
Right, this isn't Polaris. It's not Polaris.
Star of the two stars. When it hits a red dot or a green line, it's going to be exactly the same as the second.
So that's funny.
So let's go out of theoretical physics into real world, because this is a distinction between real science.
So yeah, that's not Polaris, Anthony. I was talking specifically about Polaris. And like I said just now, if Polaris gets close enough to the horizon, you can't really go by its distance above the horizon, because you have refraction, and it's going to change where we see it. So that's why there's so many more stars in the sky.
Science and pseudoscience. Lorentz contraction isn't real. Einstein defines. Let me ask you this.
But the fact remains that relationship between angle above the horizon and distance from the GP is a linear relationship and not possible on a flat Earth.
It's a thing where essentially because the wind
On a flat Earth, it's a asymptotic relationship.
like falls down, that's space time level. So basically it contracts time.
So further to your question about what you just said about
No, but I
time.
want your explanation as well. How do you explain that observation that if you do go stand there with a standing, with a scientifically controlled clock of something that just backs and back and forth at a regular amount of time, why does that need to slow down?
So are you asking me time dilation? Are you asking me to explain time dilation?
I'm asking you to explain what I just asked. Don't put words in my mouth. What I just
I'm
asked.
trying to get to what you're asking
So
me.
my thing is, you can get. I can't forget the name of the clock. There's a certain type of scientific clock where it's not measured on a time, like a time scale that can't be a
Yeah,
atomic
you're the
clock.
atomic clock. Yeah. So you're
And you
asking.
just take that next to like something of greater density than what you personally are, and it will slow down.
Okay, so-
by fractions
so
of milliseconds. What?
How do you know that it slows down?
Because it's been observed.
Pardon?
Because it's been observed to slow down.
It's been observed. Right. So that means it's been measured. Right. Do you know what the rate of time slowing down is in this context?
Fractions of seconds.
It's much less than that. There is a Einstein quantified it.
It's a fraction of a second, but that's.
George,
But it's okay.
a ratio.
Regardless of the
No,
fact
hang on,
whether
it's important because scale's important in your question. You're asking me how did they measure time dilation? And
No,
how do
no,
I
I'm not
explain
asking
it?
that. I'm asking
You're asking me
how
to
do you explain it? Yeah.
Right, I'm getting to it. I need to know that we have a valid scientifically observed phenomenon.
Yeah.
And my question to that is, how do you know that time dilates? And I will cite back to you George Musa, writing for Scientific American, who states that Albert Einstein said that down is the direction in which time travels more slowly. That's what Einstein says. He quantifies down and time travelling more slowly to be parts in a trillion. Now I'm asking, how do you know that time dilates if the scale is parts in a trillion? And I will say to you
If
that
it's
it's
dilated
never...
by parts in a trillion, you can visibly see it by fractions of a second.
George Musa, writing in Scientific, I can get
So
it on my phone
one
right
scientist.
now. No, he's an astrophysicist with a PhD.
But you said astrology wasn't real. If you were, that astrology wasn't real science. So how's an astrophysicist a real scientist?
I'm not saying I agree with him. I'm answering your
But
question.
no, you're not, because you're giving his answer.
Yeah,
but
I'm
that's
using
not
him
you
to
answering it. But then you're saying
my
you don't
answer
believe
is
him.
time doesn't dilate.
But then...
Because you can't prove that it does. It doesn't. There's parts in a trillion, and there isn't anything that we've got on Earth over the time that we need.
Well, you also just said that you didn't agree with him.
Do I need to prove that he
said
says?
that's what he said, but you then also said that you don't agree with him.
I'm using your science against you to demonstrate that time doesn't dilate.
No, explain that. You just said...
It doesn't time doesn't dilate.
How do you use our science against us?
Do you get how he was
Time doesn't dilate. Your claim is that time dilates. I'm saying
No,
it
no,
doesn't.
I didn't claim that at all, actually. What I
You
said
asked me
was,
to
how do you
explain.
explain this observation? That
Yeah,
wasn't me saying
and
I
my
agree with
answer
that.
is, my short
You put
answer-
words into people's mouths.
No,
You do.
my answer to your question is that time doesn't dilate.
But we've
And my
observed it doing
my
it, so then how would you prove
hang
it?
on, my authority for that is George Musa, writing in Scientific
Didn't say
America,
that it dilates
who
by
said that
trillions
Einstein's
and
part in a trillion. Yeah. And
But
I'm
it
gonna
does
say-
dilate, though. Because it
Right.
dilates by
So
parts in a trillion.
where's
It
the
does
evidence?
dilate.
Where's the evidence that time dilates if it's
Well, you
parts?
just said that scientist guy that you just said.
Where's the evidence that time dilates
That
if
guy,
it's
we've
parts?
had
In,
it.
well, listen. Where's the evidence that time dilates if it's measured in parts in a trillion?
Well, look at
It
George
doesn't
Musa.
exist.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, hold on, look at the rest of what George Musa says. If he's saying that it occurs, he will cite it somewhere.
I'll read.
See, it's the first law of Flurf. Every citation leads to a debunk. I think that's the first law.
You're effectively saying
See, he's citing George Muser, but George Muser's work debunks him.
that it can't happen because this guy says it happens really small. But that's still saying it's happening. It's just saying it's happening on a really small level.
I'm not saying. Listen, my answer is time doesn't dilate.
But then you
So you
cited a
can't
guy
use
who has said that it is.
to
back you
quantify
up.
the scale. Yeah, to quantify the
say
scale.
that-
No, not to back me up.
No, it's
No,
not-
no.
Dude, they've taken two identical atomic clocks, and they put one of them in orbit, and when they bring it back, they're out of phase. They're out of phase. They're not synchronized up. So, don't know what to tell you, man. Don't know what to tell you.
No, let me correct you. Not to back me up, to quantify the remoteness of the claim that you're making.
But if he said that
I need to explain it. And I
it
have
doesn't matter the scale. He's saying
It doesn't
happens.
really
No,
matters.
it doesn't. Because
does.
he's saying
Whether
it
it happens
happens
or
on a
not.
tiny scale.
No.
But it happens. That is the crucial bit of
No.
what he is saying. And then you
Einstein
said, I'm
said it
using
was
this.
parts in a trillion, and I call bullshit because we can't measure parts in a
No, you
trillion.
said Musa said that it does happen by parts in a trillion.
Right, Musa was quoting Einstein, who said that it was parts in a
But what
trillion.
did he say about it?
Einstein, parts in a
No,
trillion.
Musa.
I'm going to get
Did
to you.
he?
I'll
Did
get to you
he?
now.
So which way's up? Which way's up? Number on my chart. Is it B? Is it? Where's up on my chart? Answer the question. Right here. This circle. Which way is up? Where's the top of it? Where's the top of this circle? Can you answer that, please?
Disprove it, or did he prove that it happens
No, he
on a
didn't
very
disprove
minute
it.
scale?
He didn't disprove it. He tried to he was explaining down in the context of gravity. Down is a direction in which time travels more slow. Down is slow time. The question I was asked was, how do I explain time dilation? My answer is, because it's too remote, it can't be proven to be true. That's the answer. But because it's quantified to be parts in a trillion, doesn't make it true. What makes it true is demonstrating that time dilates. And I said it can't be
The atomic clock.
That's the claim. I want to see the evidence that that's actually true.
Read that guy that you wanted to say.
No, you're not. No, because what you're saying
How
is you want to
do you-
observe it, whether it's true.
Like, listen, the atomic clock is basically a measuring device. So you've got two of them next to each other and you're looking for the differential between the two. Read what it actually says about it. It would take millions of years to get a nanosecond out of it. How the hell are we going to do that other than calculate it with maths?
But it says it would.
There's not enough time for us to ever observe or measure it. They just theorise that it exists.
To measure what?
Time dilation.
Yeah, but how was
But
it?
they've observed it.
No, they haven't.
They
They
just
theorised
said that
that
it had by a trillion, yes, but just because it wasn't observed by a nano, you're like disregarding it completely.
because there's no evidence that it's true.
But there is.
No.
The guy you're citing is saying that there
What's your answer, Dick?
is evidence
No,
to
he's
support this.
claiming it's true. Doesn't make it true. You can claim you drive a Ferrari, but unless you show me the Ferrari, you're not got a car, have you? Just claiming it doesn't mean that it's true.
So what's the point of any scientists making any point in claim if they can't prove it?
The
Because
point
there's
is
enough
The idea that
evidence to
time
back them
passes
up.
slower the more you move is called time dilation and has been empirically proven through countless experiments.
Name one.
Okay, let me load the article. Oh God, where are you going?
I bet you what they call experiments fail to comply with scientific method, and they will be
Which one?
pseudoscience.
Which one though?
The one that gives you a cause and effect relationship
But
with
there
a
are so
valid
many.
time
But
bomb.
Which one though? The one that proves me wrong.
scientific method is about 8, 9,
Was that the Smiths in the background? I wasn't even listening.
10, a billion different steps.
It's not.
It is.
There's a couple of core principles. You've
No,
got
it's
to
not.
It is.
It's observation, it's measuring, it's retrying,
What you're
it's
doing,
trying maths.
you're
Hey, RT96.
stretching the boundaries of scientific method to
No, I'm
accommodate
not.
pseudoscience.
I'm not.
He's actually making it the basics.
I'm the basics.
But I'm telling you that you've got the basics wrong because you've got
I'm
to have a
saying
valid
the two
hypothesis, a valid independent variable.
Are you such a lame fuck coward? You can't answer a fucking question, dick.
A valid dependent variable, and you've got to
That's
manipulate.
not scientific method. That's part of
I give you 30 seconds.
trying to quantify and trying to experiment with stuff.
What's your degree in?
History, but I did physics and maths.
Right, and so you're arguing with me on scientific method, and you're quiet.
He's no more qualified than you are, though. You did
Right,
law.
but you're quiet in this area.
Here, I give you 30 seconds, man. Where's the top of this circle? Go. Time's ticking.
You expertise in.
Yes,
And
because
I've won.
louder. Honestly, yeah, one, he's louder. Two, I know he's better at making an argument than I am. Three, also the fact that half the shit is coming out of your mouth is absolute bollocks. It makes no sense because you're constantly going back and forth on yourself. Three, for the fact that you clearly don't understand basic science because you never did a fucking science experiment in your life.
That's not true.
When was the last time you did a science experiment?
I demonstrated.
No. When was the last time you did a science experiment?
2 months ago.
On what?
I demonstrated that I could manipulate the density of a medium and cause an object to accelerate.
His egg experiment. That's what he's citing. That's the experiment that he did.
Do that.
It's hilarious.
Water, I added an egg, and the egg sank to the floor. I added mass to the water in the form of salt, and basically I got the egg to lift off the floor. And when it got to that...
Congratulations, you can do an science experiment that probably a 12-year-old could.
Yeah, well, you didn't ask me to do an experiment that wasn't of a 12-year-old. You asked me how long ago was it that I lasted an experiment.
Okay,
and
when
my
was
answer
the
was
last
2
time you
months
did
ago.
when did you
And
last
now
do a
you're
published
ridiculing it.
experiment?
I don't have to publish it to perform science.
When was the last time you did a published experiment that was recognised by a scientific committee?
I can't
When was the last
publish
time you
it.
did that?
I can't. When was the last time you did?
Like 2 years ago? Last year?
Where can
Actually,
I find it?
5 months ago.
5 months ago. Where can I find it?
Royal Society of Chemistry.
So that's 30 seconds. So, yeah, you get timed out. So we'll do it for 30 minutes. Not 10 minutes. Do 10 minutes.
And what did you prove?
Nothing that you'd actually understand.
What was your hypothesis?
Hypothesis was based upon forming a material.
What?
It was forming a material for a...
See, the answer, in case you're watching, Dick, is this is the top. See, but without a frame of reference, you can't tell. There's no top to a sphere.
for a science company.
Forming a material.
Yes.
And what was your independent variable?
Independent variable was the amount of iron oxide, I believe that was in it, to increase or decrease the heat capacity of a certain material.
So what you're saying is the amount of iron oxide in your thing, your experiment,
Change the heat capacity of the material.
and that caused something to form. That
But
created
whether
material.
it grows crystalline solid or not.
So back to the hypothesis. What was your hypothesis? That if I did what?
If I manipulate the amount of iron oxide, it will change the heat capacity of a certain material.
Right. So why can't you formulate that, what you've just done in chemistry, in the context of time dilation? Or
Because they did.
lensing, gravitational
In
lensing?
1971.
You've done something where you've
You were talking
manipulated
about
force.
which experiments they did. In 1971, Hafele, I don't know, and Keating flew cesium beam atomic clocks initially synchronized at the atomic clock around the
It's all right.
So what they did is they synchronized the cesium beams with the initial atomic clock. They then fired the
So you're saying
the
that they
particles
synchronised
eastward
it?
and westward.
Yeah, I understand that, but
Yeah.
what you're saying is that they synchronised it, right? And given
Yeah.
that the parts are parts in a trillion.
Okay, hold on. This is from Deplorable Ilk.
So basically, no matter what facts, proofs, or evidence we bring along, it's a hey, fuck you. I wanted to iterate that. He's going to get to the whole crux of this here and the way we're going to treat anybody that does this kind of stuff from now on. The other side is completely lying and scum. So he makes a point of this. And if you, it's telling in itself. Yeah. Anyways, I'm going to let him round this off.
Now, it's the people who oppose us, that's the always were borderline thieving anyway, people like Simon Dan, who take huge chunks of people's material and never credit them. They don't put the links below. They don't tell the person watching where they've got the material. They just tell them.
And Lev,
They don't have to tell anybody where they got a book. What the fuck you talking about, man? If I review your book, I don't have to tell anybody where I got it. What are you fucking talking about, you bald, insane-looking man?
you can actually identify with this one quite well, don't you? People stealing your material. You know, it's wrong, dude. And I'm still doing a trademark thing. I have a physical appointment where I actually got to go there. It's gonna.
Yeah, Roger's still doing the trademark thing, and while he abuses trademark.
Be on the 30th. 10 more days. I'm going to sit down and get it all done proper. I don't know how
proper.
much it's going to run me to do, but I'm going to
proper
do it anyways. I'm going to trademark and do copyright myself. Otherwise, it's going to cost me to pay a lawyer, and I'm not going to jump through too many hoops to get it done. But I'm going to get an actual semblance of it, so we can actually, when they take our material and they can critique it any way they want to, and I don't mind critiquing material, but taking like whole shows, half shows, quarter of my show, just playing it and like using the material like satire, or look at these idiots, instead of like taking it in.
That's called for fair use.
Context the whole show, Yeah, you get it, Left. All right. Let's get back to the monkeys.
Yeah, I take nothing out of context.
We're gonna be barbecuing later. They need to quit, and that's really all. We need to push back, and we're getting pushed back because Congress made it a thing because they don't want any of our information getting out there. It goes against the grain, and they don't like it. It pisses them off. The local spin on everything, the local news, everything, all that shit. Yeah. Well, what's the scumbag, dude, to be honest with you? And when I met him the first time, the first thing he had to say to me, just by looking at me, I was live on a stream with him. He said, "You're garbage, man." I'm like, he doesn't even know me. He automatically pre-assumed who I was, what I'm doing, because of the panel I was on Platzoid's panel. He doesn't. He thinks he's better than most. That's pride, dude. It'll fuck with you.
Now, I get it. People want to be critical of my new book. Allegedly, 1,000 people plus have downloaded it illegally so they can engage with this material. Several hundred people have paid for it legitimately, which I'm delighted about. It's actually doing what it was intended to do and generate a revenue stream.
Their behavior is very greasy, and they hack accounts, and they'll pretend like they don't. If you can't prove it,
Nobody hacks your account, man.
kind of thing. If they cover their tracks good enough, you got to be as good as it.
Oh, Waju. Oh, Waju. Oh, what the hell?
That's what McToon.
I didn't do that.
In the field of computer science, as it goes, supposedly. Or
Supposedly.
What was his other name? What was that again?
Is he one of those guys that says supposedly with a B?
I think it was this guy right here. Remember where? Oh, there it is.
Hey, Lisa.
This guy? Yeah.
What? That guy?
It's McToon 2.0, right? Or no, that's past that. We're in 3.0 now. Yeah, that's funny. He's almost done. He's going to end it here, and he's going to start a show. But this little bit at the front of this is like it resonated with me. Like, that's exactly right. This is all planned out, man. This is how they're going to try to divide us.
Ooh, it's all planned out
by making us look not, or I was going to say uncredible, not credible to the public. Even though we do legitimate research, and we look at their claims. And that's mostly what I do. I look at pseudosciences claims and see if there's any flaws and any holes you can put in. Easy to do.
Incredible, edible.
And I'll do more on my next stream in an hour and a half.
Incredible,
A couple of days ago, I
edible.
sent out a message via Eric's
Incredible.
latest video, which was an interview, and said it'd be great to have you interview me about Measured Flat. And that particular comment got a whole bunch of likes, and he responded and said, yeah, that'd be great. Drop me an email. So I did, I got my PR team to drop him a newsletter with the press release on it, and I asked my publisher to send him a copy of the book, which both of them dutifully did. And then he got back to me this morning directly and said, great, can you come on tomorrow or Saturday? And then suggested times, and I'm like, yeah, great, I'll do it tomorrow. Fantastic. So hopefully, it might come to nothing. It's unlikely now that I'm actually arranging times with him, but it's most likely tomorrow, when there should be a live show, I'll actually be doing a pre-record with Eric DeBay. And he said, yeah, I've read your book. I'm now on chapter 13. I want to get the rest of it read before I interview you, but I really like it thus far. They're like, fantastic. Couldn't be more delighted. So it'd be marvellous if that's the first video that gets released, if the ball is started to roll with Eric DeBay being...
There's nothing in it on his channel, man. Nothing on his channel. Nothing coming up. Nothing, dude. His podcasts. Nothing there. See, what have we got?
All right, okay. Well, first of all, thank you.
This is from 8 months ago. This is from 5 days ago. So yeah, there's first Flat Earth interview. Who's this with?
Yes, make you vibrate.
The following interview features myself, Eric DeBay, president of the International Flat Earth Research Society, talking with DJ Buttermilk. Oh, so it's not Nathan Oakley. Huh. Okay. Okay.
In the first interview about the book, that would be outstanding. Because as far as I'm concerned, Eric DeBay is the biggest name in Flat Earth.
I like the whole synopsis. I like Eric DeBay is going to be there pushing it. And I'm going to tell you the real reason why they don't want me to go to Antarctica. They don't want me to falsify anything that the TFE crew or Duffy did. There's people that...
Nobody objects to you going, Roger. Nobody. At all. Everybody wants you to go.
that have investment in it. And so that's why they're pushing me. Well, why aren't you going now? I don't have enough money to go for one. And then they're going to try to make me look to see second of all.
Then how are you going to go with Nate? How are you going to go with Will? You don't even have enough money now. Like, how are you going to go then?
So, same group of people. It's annoying as hell. So I'm going to go over what we're going to do at the second half of the show, but I want to cover the radius value of their said sphere. Like it's been completely debunked.
Yeah, he's going to cover it.
And I'll do like a couple of things.
It's been completely debunked. It's been completely debunked. Yeah, says Nathan. Says fucking Jesus Christ. Good Lord.
Trillion for gravitational lensing according to Einstein. I'm going to ask how you calibrated that to prove that it was synchronized.
Because they would have done measurements on it with maths.
Parts in a trillion. Do you understand how big trillion is? Yeah, calibration in a trillion. That's crazy numbers. Nobody can calibrate anything to parts in a trillion.
Okay,
what, theoretically?
Okay, no, so here you go.
Can scientific instruments be calculated to parts per trillion?
Yes. Yeah. Scientific instruments can measure concentrations down to parts per trillion, which is a very sensitive level. These instruments are used in fields like chemistry, environmental testing, and physics.
There you go.
After each flight, yeah, but look at what they did. After each flight, they compared the time on the clocks in the aircraft to the time on the clocks in the observatory. So the fired part.
No, wait! You're Mr. Cheswick. I'm sorry.
But this is the experiment. So first what they did is they synchronized them, and then spread them one way, spread them the other. They then brought them back and measured them according to what they think what the predicted ones are, and it matched every single time.
What's the result?
Yeah, but
right, okay. So what's the result when it's passed in a trillion and you need a lot of time for it to pass?
No, you don't wait for it to pass to say get like a second. You measure it using the maths and whether the maths will line up. And every single time they did the experiment, the maths lined up.
What was the name of that experiment?
It was Hafeel and Keating.
I've not heard that one before, so what I'll do is I'll put that into my phone, I'll go and research it, but I can guarantee you this, it won't comply with scientific method.
But it did!
It'll be deemed theoretical.
It did!
How? I bet you it wasn't.
But the thing is, it's what scientific method are you using?
Hypothesis test.
Yeah, no, they did. They said if we fire it that way and fire it that way, the hypothesis is they will be out, but their time will dilate by this much amount based on earlier predictions of what they think it is. That's their hypothesis. They then observed using the.
Give me that name.
It was Hafele. And Keating? And Keating.
Keating. Hafele and Keating experiment, time dilation.
Yeah.
Right,
So
I'll be honest, I'm not familiar with that one.
But what they would have done is they would have observed the difference in time.
I'll tell you what I'll do, I'll make you an offer.
But I'm explaining why they went to scientific method, because they wouldn't have got it published if they didn't.
Given that I've never heard this before, I'm not going to argue from ignorance. Allow me the opportunity to go read the paper, and then I'll invite you to a hangout on YouTube where we can discuss it. Find me on Sleeping Warrior, you can find me on YouTube, and I will go through that with you, and I'll show you the exact point where it becomes pseudoscience. And then we can argue whether it's science or not.
And now, if I didn't know any better, I'd say that he had some live streams, didn't he? Or did he just delete all of his live streams? And for his videos, there's like 17 times 3. That's it. 17 times 3. That's 51 fucking videos. So, why do you only have 51 videos in 5 years, Anthony? Just curious. Just curious.
You are an.
Okay, so this is basically my attempt at researching the point that was being made. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you what my researchers discovered in relation to this atomic clock's claim. Now, my claim was that they can't calibrate these clocks to be accurate enough and to pass enough time to be able to calculate time dilation in the first place. My reason for that is cited by George Musa in Scientific American, and if Flat Earth wants to challenge this, be my guest. George Musa, writing on November the 1st, 2015, in this article, cites Einstein for quantifying the parts per million, the quantity of dilation. And I'll read from it. The morphing of space and time is not just the stuff of exotic physics. It governs the motion of any falling object. Baseballs, wine glasses, expensive smartphones, things that slip out your hand accelerate towards the floor because Earth's mass warps time. The warping of space plays only a minor role in these cases. Down is defined by the direction in which time passes more slowly. Clocks at sea level tick more slowly than clocks on the summit of Denali. I'd love to see the evidence of that being true, but a watch strapped to your ankle will fall behind one on your wrist. Again, I'd love to see that being true. This is pure theoretical physics, in my opinion. Anyway, in human terms, the deviations are small. Let's change the word small to microscopically, infinitely, what's the word I want? Stupidly small. Parts in a trillion at most. But enough to account for the rate of blah, blah, blah. So the bit I'm really focusing on for the purposes of this discussion, this bit of research, is this parts in a trillion. So parts in a trillion. I wanted to know what is a trillion. I didn't know whether it was 1,000 million or million or whatever. It's one of those numbers that you never come across. It's got 4 banks of 3, right? A million, 4 banks of 3, and it might even be different in America, because sometimes Americans have a different number for different words. This is just what I'm reading from. So a million, 4 banks of 3. So he quoted this citation. Let's make this a bit bigger. Around the world.
3 lions.
Clocks. He gave me the name of the paper. And
Tri-lion.
Published, and I searched for cesium beam atomic clocks based on the name and stuff. And what I found when I searched for cesium beam atomic clocks, it says it keeps time to a second in 300 years. Right? So 1 second in 300 years. So then what I did was, how many seconds are there in a year? So at first I put how many seconds are there in 1 year? In 300 years, and then the number it didn't work. So I did
Here comes some Riley math.
it in 1 year. How many seconds are there in 1 year? And it says there are that amount of seconds in a year. So what I did was I got that number, copied it. And what I'm looking for here, I'm looking to see how many seconds there are in 300 years. Okay. So let's bring the calculator over. So what we'll do here, that's the number I got. So what we'll do is we'll clear everything, and we'll put in there, we'll put this number, which is the copied number from here. This is the number of seconds in 1 year, and we're going to multiply that by 300 to give us a number. So what we're looking for, let's copy this number. This is a big number. It's one of these numbers that he struggled with. He struggled even saying it correctly, and I'm not even going to try because it's not important. What matters is this greater than, equal to, or less than parts in a trillion? So we know a trillion is 100 million, is a million, right? So when we know that the amount of seconds in a year, in 300 years is this. So what we're saying is, or what I'm challenging is, are the clocks that he cited accurate enough for the purposes of both calibration and demonstrating time dilation? Because obviously my position is that it's not. But basically, if they are accurate enough, according to the citation here, Navy, US Navy, I guess, it kept time to a second in 300 years. How they know that, I have no idea. But that's the claim, right? Well, parts in a trillion is 4 banks of 3, and that clock gives us that amount of seconds in the claimed amount of time that they are accurate to, 1 second within 300 years. But there's that many seconds in 300 years. So basically, the issue becomes, are they accurate enough to demonstrate the point? So there's a million, 4 banks of 3, and there's only 1, 2, 3 banks of 3, and that means that this clock that they're talking about, this Cosium beam atomic clock, isn't accurate enough to demonstrate the parts in a trillion quantification by Einstein, because it's missing 100. Is it 1,000 million? It's missing. Hang on, how many is it missing? 1, 2. It's missing 1,000 seconds out of it. It's not accurate enough. So it's difficult to explain this, but I'm hoping that you get the point there. So when he says parts in a trillion, and in the paper it says 4 cesium-based atomic clocks were flown on a regularly scheduled commercial jets around the world twice, once eastward, once westward. Interesting, they didn't go north or south; it went east to west. But anyway, to test Einstein's theory of relativity with macroscopic clocks. From the actual flight paths of each trip, the theory predicts that the flying clocks compared with the reference clocks at the US Naval Observatory should have lost 40 plus or minus 23 nanoseconds. So that means basically it's 20 nanoseconds during the eastward trip, and should have gained 275 plus or minus 21 nanoseconds during the westward trip. The observed time differences are presented in the report that follows this one. Basically, that's what the differential should have been according to this. But according to George Musa in Scientific America, he said it's only parts in a trillion. So it seems to be that it's not accurate enough to maintain that amount of time in 300 years anyway, because it needs to, in 300 years, if it maintained 1 second in 300 years, that when you work out the maths and you work out how accurate that is, it isn't getting the minimum standard of parts in a trillion, because there aren't actually a trillion seconds in 300 years. So it's not accurate enough anyway. So although these mathematics may well be right, and I'm not saying that they're right or wrong, what I'm saying is, if these cesium beam atomic clocks are accurate within 1 second every 300 years, which is the claim, then this nanosecond thing, I mean, this is such an infinitely small amount of time that they're not accurate to within the parameters cited by Musa in this paper in parts in a trillion. So either Musa's got this wrong, because parts in a trillion isn't accurate enough, or the maths in the paper are wrong, but at least either way, both of them are contradicting each other. And the question becomes, even if, I mean, how do you think about it more on a logical, practical point? How the hell do you manipulate time? What we're looking at here is 4 cesium beam atomic clocks. Now, whether they're digital, analog, or however they work, does not mean that we're manipulating time. We're measuring the time it takes.
Do you realize that that this is nanoseconds, billionths of a second? Did you know that? That's the scale they're working on, is billionths of a second?
And then we're using a differential between...
I don't think he does. I don't think he looked at what unit of measure they're using. 40 plus or minus 23 nanoseconds.
Differential between the two. You can't manipulate time. We've had this before with the independent variable being time. You can't manipulate time. So, and even if you could, let's just say that you are Doc Brown. The difference is incredibly small. It's so ridiculously small that I don't think that any machine measuring time in the first place would ever be accurate enough. Because a second in 300 years, by the maths to work it out, doesn't give you that part in a trillion that Einstein claims it's less than. And let's go back to his paper. It says parts in a trillion at most. I don't know how many parts, but it's at most. So we could just basically say it's 1 part in a trillion. but there's not a trillion seconds
So because he doesn't understand a statement in a fucking paper, time can't exist.
in 300 years. So it's within
Wow.
a second for 300 years, but the
He's
numbers
just
don't
so
add up
funny.
Anyway, that's my research on that. So I just wanted to stick this in so that I could show that that I could show that I have done a little bit of research
You get a bronze star, buddy.
into this. I'll refine this argument before I speak to him, but in any event,
Go take it and stick it in your book.
it's not supporting the assertion being made.
You're a celebrity. Hello, Mark.
Einstein
And most of
stuff
it gets discredited very quickly. This stuff hasn't. It complies with loads of other experiments. that are
Einstein
so
stuff is all theoretical physics, all of it, in general
But the
relativity.
more, no, not when you look at gravitational waves. Because that's loads of theoretical physics. No, it's not. We've seen them.
Yeah, so what? We can't prove what's causing the thing that we believe we're looking at.
No, we did. No, we didn't. We did because we looked at black holes and we said, in theory,
Theoretical physics.
no, what they said is our hypothesis is when two black holes merge, this should happen. That's their hypothesis. No, this is what they did. And then they said, well,
how did anybody manipulate a black hole, even if they exist?
Hey, don't talk bad about your mother.
They didn't. They observed. They just looked. There are people in observatories all the way around the world scanning the heavens constantly, trying to find stuff like this, and they did.
Listen. Let me wrap this up because I want to speak to this guy. He's a known troll, and not the first time I met him. But what I'll invite you to do, let me look at that paper, and I will, and then we'll have a conversation. If you look me up on YouTube,
so much stuff that I'm trying to prove to you follows the same scientific method you're saying, and instead you're just saying,
allow me the opportunity. No, I'm not. I'm saying let me look at the paper and let me work out the bits where they've not complied with it. Yeah, you're assuming that.
Because they're world-renowned physicists.
But I'll show you that they won't have done if I get a chance to look at it.
But you're not a scientist, so you wouldn't.
But I know scientific method. It's not because I've learned it.
But learned it when?
I gotta tell you, it'd be funny if this guy here bit his ear off.
What, GCSE? At O-level?
If this guy just got so fed up he just bit Anthony's ear off.
Do you think it's kind of ignorant that you think you know more about scientific theory than world-leading scientists?
I'm not saying scientific theory. I'm saying scientific method.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, same thing. Same question. Do you think you're more ignorant?
Yeah, that's the question. Yeah. See, you think it's kind of ignorant that you think you know more about the scientific method than the world-leading scientist. Yeah, don't you think it's kind of ignorant? It absolutely is fucking ignorant that you think you know more about all the you know more about science than all the scientists.
Ignorant. Say that you know more about scientific experiments.
She's fucking nailed it right there.
Scientific. Sorry, what's the exact wording?
Theory, you said.
No, what? Not your wording. Method.
Scientific
You know
method.
more about scientific method than the top leading scientists in the world.
I would never for a minute say that I know more about
Yes
the
or no?
legal methods than you do. Because I don't know it. I haven't studied it.
Exactly.
That's fine. To answer your question, you've got did you say you had a degree in
Chemistry and
quantum physics?
So you're not answering the question. It's a yes or no question.
quantum mechanics.
Quantum mechanics at degree level, yeah?
Yes.
Well, we've demonstrated that you didn't know what a valid independent variable was. You did get there.
No,
again.
you're absolutely correct. Completely discredit my degree. I'll go hand it back in. No, the presumed cause is the dependent variable. No, the presumed cause is the dependent variable. No, the presumed cause is the dependent
Yeah, she misspoke. She misspoke.
variable. You're absolutely correct. This isn't answering my question. What you're doing is you're back and forthing. You're not creating a good argument. You as a lawyer should know that just going like, actually what I'm going to do is just tear them from a different point. I asked you a basic yes or no question. Do you think you are ignorant for saying that you know more about scientific methods than top leading scientists?
Who have spent...
The answer is yes. It's ignorant to think that.
That's a yes or no question. That's not actually going, you don't know anything about science
You're
yourself.
quoting
I'm
me.
asking you a question.
You're
I've
quoting
never once
me.
said I think I know better than what they do.
You're quoting me for saying that I think that I know more about.
No, I didn't quote you.
No, she isn't quoting you. Everything you're saying, right? She's quoting science to you, and you're saying, "Nuh-uh, I know better." So that's her summation of you.
I asked you a question.
Right, ask
I
the
said,
question
do
again.
you think,
Yeah.
so that's not quoting you,
No,
that's
no.
asking, do you think
That I
you
am
are
ignorant.
ignorant for thinking that you know better
I didn't
than
say
a
that.
scientific
You're
method?
putting words in my
Did
mouth
you
here.
just, did you
In
not
your
just say
opinion.
they didn't know how to do scientific methods?
Yeah, because you don't know what they. Right, the first stage is observe.
This
and
isn't about
naturally-
me, I'm asking you a question about yourself.
Yeah, but you're saying that I think that I'm better qualified than whatever.
No,
it
I'm
was you
asking, do
just
you think?
You do think you're better qualified, or else you would listen to the people that are better qualified than you.
Yeah, but I don't.
Right?
No, the answer
Okay,
is no.
so they probably do know how to do scientific methods better than you and
Yeah, but you've got a degree in quantum physics.
I'm not asking about me, stop turning it back on me. That's not
Well,
the
you're
point of this
turning it on me,
argument.
and you
because
don't-
you're the person claiming that you know better.
Observe a natural phenomena is always the first step of a scientific
So
experiment.
it's basically, yes, you think you know better than these scientists.
Are you saying I'm wrong?
I don't want to be rude. So, observing, no?
Observe a phenomenon.
Based on observation. Why at the pole, North Pole, the day have 6 months, the night have 6 months. On the equator, what we know, it is equator, the day have 12 hours, the night have 12 hours. At 45 parallel north and south, the day and the night are variable with 3 minutes approximately from one day to other. For this reason, we have the solstitium, the equinoxium, spring, autumn, equinoxium, and the summer, winter solstitium.
Yeah.
That is the reason for why the Earth is spinning.
Right.
And he have the
is there an
the axis in that angle.
Is there an alternative explanation?
No,
there
not.
was initially, and it
Now,
got
come and
disproved.
show me on the map. You have the map there with
there
the
was an
Earth
alternative
Earth planet.
explanation, and it was the
I don't know. I think it's English. I think it's like he's English is not his first language, but he's trying to speak English. It's like I don't know what he said. Evidently, Anthony does.
the geocentric solar system.
These guys do.
Which then when Galileo started being like, no, I don't think that's right, he was like, shut up for it, and then
I heard some English words,
eventually people went, actually, his
but I'm not going to tease him.
science works. Actually, when you observe it, when you apply it, when you realize that actually it's a heliocentric solar system, suddenly the science and the maths made sense.
Right, okay, it may make sense.
In the same time,
So
in the
doesn't
same
so
time,
doesn't that
in
explain
the
it? Because
south-
they observed it, they did
There's two things.
experiments
Let
on
me
it.
answer him first.
Okay.
And in the same time, in the south hemisphere, the constellations are very different about the constellation what are in north hemisphere.
Right.
So we can't see the cruise of south. They can't see
We have to
the
be facing different directions.
polar
And we do face different
But then how do we do that if we're all on one plane facing up? If we're all on a flat Earth facing up, how comes us up here see something completely different up here than they do looking up? Australia,
Right.
the southern
All right,
Hemisphere is
let me come back to that in a sec. To answer your question,
That
I
was-
asked,
that was his question.
I asked you, is there an alternative explanation?
But
for
you
this?
haven't. Okay. And I said
And
yes.
you
explain.
No, and
Yeah.
I said yes.
So-
and I said yes.
Could we
and
go
I explained
to
it.
So
to
basically,
be more.
Oh, I take it back. Anthony Riley didn't say his main strategy is to gaslight. His main strategy is quote mining and cherry picking. That's what he said. I wanted to correct that.
Argumented?
yeah, but the alternative explanation is that if the Earth is a plane and there is a close and local sun orbiting around us, there will be a proximity-based relationship between the sunlight and the person underneath. And if the sun's moving further away and then coming closer, moving further away and coming closer, proximity is the explanation, the alternative explanation, if we're not on a sphere.
But it doesn't get closer. The sun doesn't get closer. It would change size if it was close and local, and we never see it change size.
Now, we may be on a sphere, we may not be, but there are two interpretations, and we don't know which one's true. We believe one, and we reject the other.
Oh, is he Angel of Shit's Flurf Daddy?
Okay, I see what you're saying there. But then we say, but there's also evidence that us on the northern hemisphere can see stuff that is different from the southern hemisphere.
Yeah,
So how does that work if you're on a
proximity
plane?
as well. So, all right, so
'Cause we're all
your
looking
eye,
up.
would you agree that your eyesight is probably better than
But that's not what I'm
this?
saying. I'm saying if everyone here is looking up, how do we see completely different stars and different constellations?
Proximity is the same answer.
But it's not proximity, because if
Why?
we all because if I'm standing here, we can both see the Burger King, right?
Yeah.
Can I see the Burger King?
No. But why?
Burger King. They got a Burger King.
Because you're now facing that way.
Exactly. So if we're all on a disc and we're all facing up, all facing the same way, I'm Australia now, you're UK. We're on a disc. We're still flat.
So you've got Polaris in the middle.
We're facing up.
So let's go with Polaris.
Polaris will be that way.
All right. So
Put down the weapon.
Polaris is over here, north star, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. So
So
you
why-
can see it
Fire.
in England, yeah.
No, see, I'm Australia.
You're in Australia.
Because we're facing the same way.
Right. So let's say you're Australia.
Okay.
Stand there for me. Stand there.
No, he's the UK.
I'm UK.
He's the UK. We're just the opposite sides of the
Okay.
flat Earth.
All right. So you can see Polaris there.
Yeah.
You're too far away to see it.
Well, there is.
I can't do scale now. All right. If I was to do the scale.
You can go all the way back to Burger King. I'll still see
Knock his table over.
it.
Then run away. Knock his table over and then run away.
Yes, it's there. I can. No, I can
But
see
that's
it.
the thing, there's a cloud in the way. That's what?
No, because when it's not, because when it's nighttime and there's nothing in the way.
About one star, not all.
Yeah, could be the that's so far away that the pivot, the angle at which those two are different. No, because I'm not agreeing with you. Because of the fact that you have something so far away as Polaris, the angle at which those who are seeing that perspective becomes so minuscule that you were discrediting me for. You can see it.
Right.
You can equally see what. Polaris.
But the thing is when you're in the south, you can't see it at all. You see something. What I see here is I see Vodafone.
I see Burger King.
I'm seeing Southern Cross.
Yeah, I see McDonald's.
Polaris.
I see Carl's. Yeah, I see him.
I get your point. If perspective is going to be the way the conversation is going to go, that's fine. But what I'll say is, just because, if I got my headlights on my car and I flashed them, do you think that you'd be able to see my headlights flashing from London?
But there's stuff in the way. Like there's
Exactly,
a building.
exactly.
But the difference is neither of us will be able to see it.
Yeah, but the thing is, when there's a
That's
plane,
the difference.
if there's a plane,
I can see it from London too.
Yeah, but if
I
there's a
can't.
plane.
Now, if I go back behind that building, can you see it? No. Well, Earth's flat.
There's a plane at 30,000 feet, and it stays at 30,000 feet continuously as it goes into the distance. Doesn't change its elevation. Do you agree that that appears to go down to the horizon from the observer, the perspective of the observer? Yes or no?
Because it's curving, yes. And that is the natural.
So
if
you
you're
don't
going like that.
So you don't think that the convex shape of your lens on your eye causes everything to focalize in the middle?
No. No, that's not what does that, dipshit.
No. Then you don't understand the anatomy of the eye.
I mean, I do.
That's perspective. Your
It's
eyes,
not.
your eyes have that shape, and that's
They
what
don't
gives...
make the world do that. What they do is when
Of course
light
they
is
do.
coming in from... No, again, you've got cause and...
No, man, the circular shape of our eye doesn't create the fucking single point perspective, dumb fuck. Holy crap, he's dumb.
effect the wrong way round. When light comes in from really far away, it bends and focuses in your eye. That's why it's shaped like that. It's not to make the world squish.
Man, I'd fucking kill for some fucking Burger King.
Or bend out.
Everything that you look at right in front of you, your eye...
We don't have a Burger King in town, which pisses me off. I wish we did. If we could replace the Subway with a fucking, what's it called? The other one, and replace McDonald's with Burger King, that'd be great.
Well, it's the very centre of your eyeball, isn't it? Do you agree? And then from that point, everything's wrapping round, but in our visual acuity, everything focuses on that one point. That's why train lines, even though they're always parallel, they never actually meet. They appear to meet to the perspective of the observer. But when you look at it side-on orthographically, they don't meet. Everything meets in the middle. That's perspective. It gets smaller.
But that's not because my eye is bending it so it does it. It's just that's what it naturally does.
No, it doesn't. The train lines don't meet.
God damn, you're dumb, dude.
Perspective.
The train lines don't meet, do they?
No, I know, but the thing is...
But your eyes perceive that they do.
No, they don't. They just perceive
Really?
when it gets so far away, your eye cannot just distinguish. It's not telling you that they meet, because I know that they don't meet.
Yeah, I know.
What it's saying is that
But
the
it
distance
does-
gets
it
so
does tell you-
minimal...
No, it does tell you that they appear to meet.
No, it just says that the distance becomes so minimal that your eye can no longer distinguish the gap in the middle.
Yeah, but they appear to meet. That's the point. If you get a road and all the traffic going up to the horizon, all the traffic appears to go up in the triangle to the horizon. Appears. But we know it
but
doesn't do
that's
that.
perspective.
Yeah, I know. That's my point.
It just has such a tentative grasp on everything.
No.
But that's not...
So
But
the
the
same
difference
true in the
is...
sky.
But the difference is if I'm... It doesn't...
Quiznos. That's the sandwich store. Although Quiznos hadn't been the same since they got rid of the fucking 5-spice pepper sauce. The 5-pepper sauce.
No matter where you are on that plane, you will see the traffic going into the single...
They're fucking, they had a steak sandwich with that sauce on it. And oh my God, it was fucking awesome. On rosemary bread.
point.
Yeah, but
what I'm saying is that doesn't prove that we're all on the that would only work if you've got two people facing the road and watching it disappear into a point.
Yeah,
They could be
but with
anywhere
regard to
along that way
Polaris-
facing that
but
way.
with regard to
What I'm
Polaris-
saying is there are some people who would be facing this way going, right, where's the traffic? I don't know where the
All
traffic
right,
is.
let me
Because
deal with
they're
that in a
watching a lorry collide with an old woman.
Let me deal with that in a second. I'll come
But
back
they're
to that.
seeing something completely
So
different.
if we stand underneath Polaris at the North Pole and we start moving in any direction away from it, it's going to appear to drop towards the horizon. It does. For every 69 miles, it drops by 1 degree.
Polaris, it moves.
It appears to move.
It's constant wherever you are.
No, it appears to move
But
because we're
it
moving.
gets close to the horizon because
Yeah, the further you go,
you can
Because
do it
that's
now.
not, that's it itself.
It's effectively hiding behind the
yeah.
it's hiding behind the curve.
effectively hiding behind. Yeah, that's right. So as you move every 69
I just said it's hiding
miles-
behind the curve.
And you
No, said
disagree with
no,
that?
You said effectively. That was the key
No.
word.
I said it's hiding behind the curve, and you said yes. You just said yes to the fact that there's a curve.
Yeah, but your prefix was the word effectively.
But you still agree with the fact that there's a curve.
Even if it's effectively hiding behind the curve, because it.
Polaris moves at 1 degree
But if it
every
was
69
flat,
miles.
I could move as far as I wanted, and I could still see it.
Right, listen, the answer to the question about Polaris, right? If you're at the North Pole and you move in 69 miles in any one direction and maintain that course line, Polaris will move by 1 degree in the night sky on the model that we're told. Okay. The problem is in real world it doesn't do it. Because in the real world,
But yes, it does.
Mick West is the citation for this, you can look it up. As Polaris and all the stars get towards the horizon, they appear to slow down because of something called that.
Right. It refraction distorts their position. Refraction distorts the position. It's not a reliable measurement at the horizon. That's why we don't. If you're doing celestial navigation, you don't use Polaris or any other star that's right at the fucking horizon.
Atmospheric refraction. I'll say that's the convergent point caused by perspective. He'll say it's the bending of light. I don't know which one it is. We can't prove which one it is, but there are two equal and opposite arguments to explain the phenomenon, and we can't tell which one's which. But the point is, it doesn't move at 1
Yeah, we can tell which is which.
degree for every 69 miles, which it must do
I mean, you can't because you're fucking dumb, but we can.
on sphere. So there's an explanation.
No, because we're not on a perfect sphere.
No, I know.
That's why.
I know, but listen.
Fucking hilarious.
Listen, the point is that the claim on the model is that it does 69 miles 1 degree.
But that might be using perfect spherical mathematics, whereas we're not on a perfect sphere.
No, I understand. But the claim is 69 miles for every 1 degree. But it doesn't actually do it real world. The explanation for why it doesn't is where the argument falls.
No, because I just said why.
Yeah,
I just said because they're using spherical mathematics when that doesn't necessarily apply.
The oblateness,
because we're on an oblique sphere.
The oblateness is minuscule to the point that it wouldn't change the 69
But
miles
science,
in every 1
but there's
degree.
so much stuff in the world that changes by a minute amount, and you're just saying that we should discard it because it's so small.
What I'm saying is that there are two equal and opposite alternative explanations, and we can't distinguish which one's correct. Is
But
the light bending,
you can use other scientific principles to give more validity to the idea of refraction. Because you look at water and light entering water,
Yeah,
and then
but
you do
that's a hard barrier, and we apply Snell's law, right?
Well, you apply the fact that when the change in medium, there's a change in medium from vacuum to atmosphere.
Yeah, it's basically no, not
Well,
really.
there is.
It's a
There is,
it's a
because
gradient,
here we have
isn't it?
air.
It's not a change in medium. Snell's law applies to a hard change in medium.
It's enough that makes it. But
Okay,
but also it may not be
let's go back
as
to
hard
basics.
as water, which is why
Does
when
light
you enter
travel
water,
No, Snell's law applies to a change of medium. It can be either a hard change between different types of medium, or it can be a density change in the same medium.
Straight lines, or does it follow a curved path?
it depends what it's going through.
Yeah, it does. But does it follow a straight line? What's the basic principle to start with? Is it a straight or is it a bend?
It's a straight, but it's dependent either on
That's like
magnetism or
saying,
it's magnetic.
that's like saying do I run or walk?
It's
Like, it
straight,
depends what's going
applying
on.
Fermat's principle on the trajectory of light that states that light travels in straight lines but deviates from straight in all directions depending on the medium. It's the isotropic medium it travels through.
You only got like 30 minutes left.
That's how light travels in the atmosphere. It
That's
deviates
where we
from
can
straight
go.
in all directions depending on the atmosphere, the isotropic non-homogeneous state of the atmosphere.
Not just medium change, because then you also have to take.
There is no medium change. We're in the same medium, but it's
A
not
space.
No, the light in the atmosphere. Oh yeah, space. So when it goes into the atmosphere, the argument is it's changing medium.
It does.
But it's a gradient. It's not changing
It
with a hard
still
layer.
it still changes.
No, it does
Yeah, but
change
it's
throughout
not a
the
line.
It does change.
Snell's law can't apply. Do you agree?
Yeah, but it
No,
does
because
change
Snell's law
for
does
different
apply.
mediums.
It's a gradient.
As you go through the atmosphere, there's different levels of pressure, there's different
Yeah,
levels
yeah,
of
but
magnetism, so it does change consistently all the way down.
No, it's not. It's
until it
inconsistent.
enters our like level.
That's the definition of the atmosphere. The atmosphere is defined as non-homogeneous. I can get it up. I've got citations for me on the
But
phone.
then non-homogeneous just means it
And
doesn't
not-
hit
it
a
doesn't
single
confirm-
barrier
yeah,
in change,
Yeah,
but it can
that
change
means you
multiple
can't- But that
times.
means you can't use Snell's law to explain refraction of going into an angle.
You can. It's just you're looking at Earth. This is the same as when you're looking at the scientific method. You're saying one thing is the absolute. When you look at the
Snell's
ground,
law.
when you look at the ground to space, you would take the medium density of the atmosphere and you would calculate the angle based on that. But because it's sort of different rings, it's non-homogeneous, they're different densities. It would change a little bit. Every
That's right,
density,
that's
could-
the
and that is
non-isotropic
and that is Snell's law, just applied on a microscopic, not even microscopic,
No,
because it's still a big area.
Yeah, I
Because
understand what you're saying.
Snell
You
is
reduce it
saying
down to
that it's,
microscopic.
that
Right, I
it's,
get it.
that it's changing based on.
So if we can agree that Snell's law applies because it's non-isotropic but only at the macro scale, yeah? We can agree.
No, not just because it's not. Snell's law is applying because it's a change in medium. It's just
It's
happening.
non-isotropic and
It's just
non-homogeneous.
happening in different.
I agree.
It's just happening
We
in
can
multiple
agree.
stages
We
instead
can-
of.
we
Well,
can
we can agree that Snell's law applies.
Yeah, well, provided we're talking at the macro level, right? We're not talking about a hard barrier between two mediums, space and Earth.
But there are barriers in the way.
Provided we're talking at the macro level, we can agree.
No, because even in
There's no hard line. You
because
can't
when
apply
you're
Snell's.
even
There's no hard line.
you can. It just applies in different gradients.
Only at the macro level. We have to agree it's macro level or we can't apply Snell's.
Why not? What's the
Because
maths?
it's
What's the
non-homogeneous.
maths in
It's
Snell's?
non-homogeneous and
What's the maths in
non-isotropic.
Snell's that says you can't?
It requires a barrier, a line, a change in medium.
That's what I'm saying. You apply Snell's law just repeatedly over the
So
course
it's
of the
macro.
diffraction.
So we're applying it on the macro level.
Well, and the micro levels as well. If you want
Sure.
to get it from Earth to space, then yeah, of course that's a macro level. It's a macro distance. But applying Snell's law, because each one of those would give a more accurate representation of what's happening than using Snell's law across the whole thing.
Now,
Same as the trapezium rule and
well, put it this way:
integrating curves.
if we can agree it's at the macro level, we can move forward. But I'm not prepared to move forward if it's not, because it is non-isotropic and non-homogeneous.
It applies on both.
No, it doesn't. It only applies on both if there's a hard barrier line between the two mediums. That is Snell's law.
But what's the maths behind it that says it has to be a hard
Angle of
barrier?
incidence equals angle of refraction.
But you can use that over several instances.
Yeah, that's why I'm
so
saying
you almost
macro
generate a
level.
curve.
All right, so listen.
Instead of
Let's
saying
just
it
agree.
applies on
Let's just
both.
agree. Let's move forward. Snell's law states that an angle of incidence equals the angle of refraction when it goes through the medium.
Yeah.
Now, Fermat's principle on the trajectory of light states that, yeah, it's getting cold. Fermat's principle on the trajectory of light states that light will take a path that takes the least amount of time to get through the medium, and it deviates from straight in all directions. It doesn't follow a curved path, it deviates from straight in all directions. Now, this is where Snell's law comes into this. The refractive index of water vapour evaporating off the surface of standing or tidal water is less dense than the air it's in. That's why it rises. When you're looking at objects on the horizon, you're always looking through an amount of vapour. It varies, but it's always water vapour because it's evaporating, but it's less dense. Now we know that when light's going through less dense medium, it bends away from the normal, it bends away from it. Well, that's not consistent with the plane that you can see behind the curve. So when we're looking at Polaris going down to the horizon and it starts to slow down, the argument is it's still there, but it's being bent. The light's being bent because of refraction through the atmosphere. The trouble is it's bending the wrong way. Because when we're looking through the atmosphere towards the horizon, the light's bending up. It's not. It's bending from the light up.
No, because you're not looking at your light out. You're looking at that light in,
yeah,
which means as it's coming in, instead of coming at this angle, it's gradually going up.
Yeah.
Which means that as it's falling, its apparent position, because of the time it takes for the light to get there, is slowing down.
Right.
Because more of the light is bending up.
So yeah, that's right. So now we've got an apparent position.
Light bends down, makes it seem like things are higher up. See, he's getting it the other way around. He thinks it's bending up. Light's bending up, right? That's why things are higher.
Otherwise, if it's just straight lines, it'd be constant. And if it's curving down, it's speed up.
That's right. We're agreeing at this point. We agree that.
Riley's dumb.
You said it was wrong.
Hang on. Now we're talking about an apparent position of a star that we believe is apparent. Where is its real position? Do we accept that we can backward calculate refraction to prove that its real position is somewhere that we don't see it? In which case I'll say that's not scientific method compliant. Or because the observed phenomena is what we're the dependent variable.
The observed
But why
phenomena is the
don't you
fact that
just
it's
use the
bending.
exact same...
Bending. Is it bending or is it following a
This is
wave?
the thing. The observed phenomenon is the fact that it's slowing down. Then the next stage of scientific method is inquiry. Why is that happening? What do I know? What other scientific things
Well, now we have
exist?
two pieces of
Then
science
why
that
don't you
conflict.
just take a different star? If you want to experiment that, then why don't you take a different star that you can still see, calculate how much the angle, whatever, is actually changed, and then apply it to the same one? Because you're then using an observed calculation.
The answer to that question. The answer to that question. The answer to that. No, it's not. That's the point.
No, but if you're saying a light's entering at a certain angle, that's going to be the same. No, as it goes down, doesn't matter where it is, it's going to be consistent.
You're assuming. You're making an assumption there that we know is.
Okay, so say I did on 99 stars, so that means I can't assume it on that one.
Yeah, but it doesn't do it. That's what I'm saying.
But it
All of the
does.
stars. No, it doesn't. All of the stars, not just Polaris. All of the stars slow down as they get to the horizon.
Yeah,
there
so
are two.
you just track
Because
that
there's some
the
form of
several...
refraction which is happening as
Yeah,
it
and if you
comes
track
down.
that
explanation.
99 times
The other
over...
explanation. The other explanation is that the plane is a flat plane, and it's the convergent point, and they're getting further away, so they're taking longer to get to the horizon because they're getting further. It
That
works.
wouldn't work.
Well,
Because
you
if,
said 2D model in a 3D world.
if it's flat, the light's coming in these
I'm
angles,
demonstrating
so
that there are
constant.
equal and opposite,
But
equal
it's
and
not.
opposing
It's not,
positions.
because when you look at it on a flat plane, the light effectively would look. It would look a bit like a protractor. It would come in at straight lines.
Yeah, but over time, they would get closer and closer together as they get to
No,
the
they wouldn't.
horizon.
It would be
They
constant.
would because they're getting further away from you.
But where's the convergent point if it's flat? Where's your
You
convergent
can't
point?
see it because the convergent point is a layer.
So does that mean that if we're on a flat Earth,
it's called
we're spinning
Airy's,
like this?
It's called Airy's diffraction. If you look at a single light source, just any light source over a long distance, if you have two light sources that are close to each other, eventually they will merge and become one. So what we perceive as the horizon is actually the convergent point where everything. It's called the circle of confusion as defined by Airy. Airy's diffraction is literally it's the circle of confusion where everything merges into one that we perceive as the horizon, but it's actually an optical effect caused by the limited angle that our eye can't see. We have a limitation of vision.
No, man, that's not at all. No, you're a dumb fuck.
What causes it?
The stars. Why are they moving? If we're flat, why is
That's
it
what we're
moving?
asking. We're asking, is it the Earth turning or is it the sky?
But then if
The
we
entire universe that
But then
is
if we've used maths and
If it was the Earth-
theories
if it
and
was the
no,
Earth
no,
turning.
because if we've done loads of scientific experiments, we've
Yeah.
looked at stuff, we've applied theory, we've observed, we've
Forgive me,
tested, we've done
let me
methods, and then that has all concurred with the fact that we are a globe spinning while other stuff is
But it
spinning
doesn't.
around
That's the
us.
point. So we've got Sirius. The closest star to us is Sirius, right? Or one of the closest.
Technically it's a binary.
It's one of the closest stars. It's about 6.7 light years away. It's about that. Sirius, it is. Look it up.
The Sirius is a binary star system. It's ages away. We don't have a star that's that close to us.
Look up the distance of Sirius. I think it's
the closest
6.7.
star to us is the sun.
Well, yeah, other than the sun.
Yeah, we're not talking about the sun. I'm going to give you an example here where astrology does not agree with the heliocentric model, and we can argue and discuss why. But it doesn't.
Also, the nearest star is Alpha Centauri.
Yeah. Well, how far away is it?
4.3.
Right. How far away is Sirius? Because that's the one I'm going to reference because it's next to Betelgeuse in the night sky. I think it's 6.7 or 6.9 light years away.
Okay, 8.6.
8.6, right, remember that number. Now look at Betelgeuse, B-E-T-E-L.
Yeah.
And I think it's 467 light years away, I think, from memory.
How much?
I think it's 467.
652.
652, right, so we've got 6.7 against 652 light years. So that gives us a ratio, and it's about 1 in 50.
But they're also not the same star.
No, but they're next to each other in the night sky, so we should be able to observe stellar parallax at the ratio
You're absolutely right, RT.
of about 1 in 50. So what we should see...
Wait, what stellar parallax?
Exactly, there is no
No.
stellar parallax.
What do you mean as we should observe stellar parallax?
All right, so let's give this an example.
What's your
right?
definition of stellar parallax?
My definition,
Yeah.
the amount that one star that's close to us will move relative to the star that's millions of miles away behind it. So Sirius will parallax with Betelgeuse because Sirius is much closer.
Okay.
So basically what we're talking about here, the scale is kind of like this guy stood with the
Oh, yeah,
camera,
no, I know, yeah.
and then you've got Betelgeuse, which is the Burger King thing in the
Yeah, no,
background.
I know, yeah.
And a little tiny movement here makes the guy with the camera move a lot.
Yeah.
The ratio is 1 in about 50. I mean, you can do the maths yourself, but it was 6.7 light years to whatever the other 10. Right, well, it's basically 1 in 50, roughly. That means that we should see parallax of Sirius at a ratio of 1 to 50, because that needs to move 1 integer for this to move 50. That's significant. But guess what we don't observe?
That is dependent on so many things, though.
It's not.
It's dependent on which forces will act on the light as it's travelling between the two.
But it won't change the fact that one of them is significantly further away than the other.
If it bends the light around, then it's changed the position, which is the whole idea of gravitational lensing.
Both lights will be bent as it
Off the
goes
top of my head, I don't know the maths for stellar parallaxing.
The observation in science, in astronomy, is that there is no stellar parallax between Beetle and Sirius. But if they are the distance in the way that we're told, there has to be. It should be 1 in 50.
But the thing is, I don't know the maths off my head, which will probably be able to explain.
Right, so then what I'll then do is the secondary point. If you look me up on YouTube, Grooming Warrior, let's resume this when I've had a chance to look at the paper you cited, and then you tell me why Beetlejuice doesn't parallax with Sirius. And the answer is because they're not stars that are as far away as what we're told. Because they got to parallax 1 in 50. Because if maths is true, right? If maths is real world, it has to be there. Is Mr. Cheswick still here? I want to. Mr. Cheswick, where? In there with that leather jacket. Honestly.
I don't think I was watching it, but thank you. Fair enough.
Okay.
So, the thing is, I have absolutely no cause for believing different things.
I don't believe anything. What I believe is that we should be able to
believe something, otherwise we'll be arguing.
we should be able to demonstrate the claims that we make, and if we're told that the Earth's turning, we should be able to.
I'm not saying you believe in a flat Earth, I'm not saying you believe in a round Earth, I'm saying you believe in something.
Well, I do believe in something. I believe that if somebody makes an assertion that the Earth's turning, for example, it's not unreasonable to ask where that proof is.
No, and I'm not questioning that. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, but what
I get why people want to believe certain things. The problem that I've had this whole time is the method of arguing.
Very, very finite and precise.
Absolutely the opposite. You can't answer a direct question.
I've addressed every single point.
Not a direct question at all. You've done some. Admittedly, you have good answers. A lot of them you skirt around until you.
I haven't answered every single question you've asked. You might not like the answer, but that doesn't mean I've not answered.
No, I disagree with your answer.
Yeah, you may disagree.
I dislike your answer the way you phrase it.
But going back to the point, Earth turn. What I'll say to you is, try and prove for yourself that the Earth's actually turning. There is no experiment that proves that the Earth's turning.
There is plenty. You just don't agree with the method in which they've done it. I do agree with the method in which they've done it. That's the difference. So you don't like the methods.
It's not that I don't like the method. It doesn't prove that the Earth's turning. Now, if you think it does, that's up to you to accept. And I'm not going to say that you're wrong.
Okay, there's more proof that the Earth is round than there is proof that the Earth is flat.
So how would we demonstrate that the Earth's round? When you say round, do you mean spherical? Do you mean spherical? Right, because I mean that signpost round, but doesn't mean it's a sphere, right?
Oblate spheroid.
Please don't try and patronize me.
I'm not. Words are important.
Okay, not sphere, oblate spheroid.
Oblate spheroid, right. All right, so let's go with oblate spheroid. What's the evidence that we are an oblate spheroid?
Observation.
Let's go with an oblate spheroid. Okay, cool. Glad you concur.
It's the fact that the southern hemisphere has completely different constellations that we can never see from up here.
But what does looking into the sky prove about the shape of the Earth?
It proves that we're looking in different directions.
So
As I was saying, with that and that.
Yeah, but you're looking in different directions. You're not looking around a curve. You're just looking in the different direction.
We're so far apart that it's curved to the point where, okay, then on certain nights in Russia, they won't see the same thing as us. The moon. The moon is a prime example.
I'll be right back.
No, the moon. Why do we never see the backside of the moon? Because it's tidally locked.
No, it's not tidally locked. It has the same rotational period as Earth.
Yeah, it's called tidal locking.
It's not tidal. It links with it. It's called tidal. It's gravitational effect on the tide, but it's the fact that the orbital period is the same.
Yeah, but the reason why we see the same side of the moon is called tidal locked. That's the phrase that they use. It's tidally locked to Earth. I'm not saying that that's true. That's what they tell us is true.
That's the wrong causation.
Well, maybe, but I'm saying that that's the explanation. That's the word that they use to describe why we see the same side of the moon. They call it tidal locking. But my point is, try and prove to yourself, and if you think that
I have several times. Quite frankly,
I'm too busy beating these two up here.
Yeah, but I have to myself. I have proved the issue. I
tell me when you prove to yourself what
the evidence that I've read up on what I believe.
Right, believe.
Everyone has to believe in something.
Well, I'm all right with you admitting that is your position. It's a belief-based thing. I'm all right with that. I've probably got my own beliefs.
Yeah, exactly. That's everyone's position.
But all I'm trying to say.
As a human being, all you can ever do is believe what
there are some beliefs.
Science isn't about belief, though, is it? It's about proving what's causing the phenomenon.
Yeah, but everything's not because you're on a basic human level of belief.
Yeah, but we're not talking about humans. We're talking about science.
Also, there are some.
Science is invented by humans, so therefore it's a human thing.
But then there are also, this thing, there are some beliefs, there are some facts. Maths is an unchanging language, which everything, it's effectively like a roller coaster.
Let's not do the maths thing again.
No, we are doing it again because it's fundamental to this whole argument of saying, no, it does. What I'm saying is that there are rules that everything has to abide by, and that is written in maths. We just have to find what that maths is. And when that maths is adhered to, that is the version of proof.
Yeah, but it's not cause. It's explanation by correlation. It's not cause.
But that explains the cause. Then surely that explains it.
Yeah, explanation is not cause. You can explain different causes. Me and you can both put the same bank robbery, right? Yeah. We'll both give similar, but different versions of what it's all.
But what I'm saying is there are so many explanations that would only work if the Earth is round or oblate spheroid. Whereas there are so many arguments for flat Earth that is contradictory to what's already been proven in maths.
But we haven't found one yet.
We've literally been talking about them all day.
Right, so now I'm going to go back to what I said to you before. I want to respectfully request that you allow me the time to look into that paper that you cited with time dilation. But in return, I want you to go away and look at the proof that you accept either that gravity axis thing that we're turning, or that we've got curvature. And if you can find evidence that you accept is true, let's reconvene at some point in the future. Look me up on YouTube. Tell me, like, what's your name? I will remember Cameron. Just say I'm Cameron, and then we'll sort something out where we discuss it, and we'll have a conversation. We won't be bitchy about it. But if you can prove something to me and I can learn something, I want to see it. But what I'll say is, if I can.
What did Anthony Riley that looked up Foucault's pendulum and said he discredited him because he's like some gay guy that wasn't even alive when the pendulum was created or some shit like that. He just got the wrong guy.
I can also show you how someone doesn't comply with scientific method with citation in science that says that it doesn't. Let's consider that it might not be science. If we can at least say that's a reasonable position, we don't have to fall out. But I do want to try and learn shit. And if you think you can prove something, I want to hear it. Same for you. I mean, I know you won't. You hate it. That's fine.
No, I don't. The thing is, I don't. The problem that I have is the way you display your art.
Yeah.
I know scientific method. Well, I know what the first stage is.
30 years. That's what I disagree is if I draw claim that you know scientific method and this is how scientific method works better than hundreds of thousands of scientists.
Yeah, a lot of scientists that claim they're doing science aren't actually doing. They're not complying with scientific method.
But then what are they doing then? How scientists are
applying pseudoscience in the belief
that we don't call pseudoscientists.
We do.
Yeah.
The definition I give you.
Yeah, the Iron Age of the 1800s.
No. You don't, because let's call you a scientist. You won't call your fellow scientists pseudoscientists. Because you'll be blackballed.
But if somebody came along that was doing science incorrectly, you would correct them. Because that's part of being
right, but the problem we've got is, look, definition of pseudoscience, a collection of beliefs or practices.
What's the definition of science?
I've told you.
Google it.
It's the observation.
Google it. That's a misbelief of science. There's a lot of science that
So before, so before the answers come up, right, I'll tell you, it's the observation and the experiment of the natural and physical world. Okay? Science definition. The intellectual and practical activity encompassing...
Intellectual as well. But that's not just practical, that's also like computational theory. It's intellectual.
And practical activity encompassing the systematic study of the structure and behaviour of the physical and natural world through observation and experiments. That's why we have experiments.
But you also before just calling on computational theoretical science is not being true science.
It's not, because where's
intellectual.
I'm supposed to have 3 of these a day.
That is theory.
Of the physical and the natural world.
Actually, physically, this is what I'm saying.
Alright, so and natural. How is theoretical physics natural?
Because everything in this world is natural.
Theoretical just means it can't be.
Because everything that we're explaining is a natural world. It's made from natural materials.
Is it man-made?
It's made from natural materials.
Is it natural? Does it
Can you
exist in the
stand?
natural
Okay,
world?
I can bet that you can get everything down there into a hydrogen atom.
Is it natural? Is this natural or man-made?
It comes from does it? What does it come from?
Man made it.
But they're not exclusive.
That's not what natural means, stupid.
What? What did that man make it from?
Exclusive.
It depends, no, because on the context
that's
of...
I know what caused this to come into existence.
This is some form of polycarbon. Would you describe carbon as natural or man-made?
Yeah, man made this, didn't it?
Carbon is man-made.
No, this is not
Which
natural.
is made of a polycarbon.
Right.
And carbon comes from where?
Just answer this.
Natural world. Everything limited down to
find that in nature, but it doesn't mean it isn't natural.
Yeah, but it's a problem if
But
we're
also,
supposed to be studying the natural
theoretical
world.
doesn't mean
We know why this
it's like
exists.
batshit crazy. It just means that it cannot be, at the moment, based on...
See, they try and equate natural world to natural science. Can't do that.
what we have. It cannot be definitively proven.
We know why it
maths,
exists.
because we don't
A
have
man made
maths.
this at some point, didn't he?
Every time you describe your
We know why it
hypothesis,
exists.
But that doesn't mean that it's...
your hypothesis, like keep talking about, that's all theory until you prove it.
Yeah, that's why we have experiments.
Yeah, but like, at the start, it's theory. Your hypothesis is theory, so it's theoretical.
Correct, but we
So
experiment.
everything you start with is theoretical.
I agree with that, but the difference where we disagree is when it comes to proving what is the cause of your phenomenon. Because you say you can mathematically calculate it, you say you don't even have to see it, and I say we've got to test it. Which one's right? I know which one's right.
But that's the thing, but the scientific method is different depending on what, it's not, as in what you're, in terms of say observation, if I'm dropping an apple, the cause is me letting go.
That dude's doing a bang-up job.
The maths can then prove what happens after that, but yeah, okay.
So the cause isn't gravity then, is it, if you're letting go?
The cause of it falling can be described as gravity because me holding it here,
even though Einstein said
the cause of it not falling is my hand. The second I let go, my cause of it not falling is no longer present, and so the reason of it falling is gravity.
Right, so would it have
Which can then be proved.
so would it have fallen if you never let go?
No, because the cause of that is my hand.
Yeah, you added energy to the system, right?
No, I didn't add any energy. I let it go.
You used
no,
your muscles.
No, I didn't, because if I let go, I'm not adding any downward energy.
You added energy by contracting your muscles in your hand. You add by doing that.
No, I don't, because if it's here, I'm not at all. No, I'm not at all. I'm not at all. The system of the ball has gravitational potential energy up here.
Yeah, but
when I let go, I'm not adding a force.
What I will say is that you are, I will agree with that he's not adding energy, you're not.
It's converting energy into
converting energy. What he could easily done. But what gravity does is convert into kinetic. What it could easily do is just form chemical energy.
Gravity doesn't convert into kinetic energy.
Well, it does, because it's transfer of energy.
Einstein said it's not force.
Kinetic energy is the definition. It's gravity.
No, it's not.
It's gravitational. Okay, actually,
nobody in
kinetic
science has
energy
ever said
is
that.
potential energy.
No, I was not talking about entropy.
It's gravitational potential energy. But
Yeah, we're talking about entropy.
Can I just interject for 1 second? I've got an anti-gravity device here.
Smoke.
Yeah.
Explain that.
Explain what?
Explain that smoke. Growing up.
Because it's less dense.
It's less dense and there's fluid mechanics involved.
Gravity
Yeah.
then.
Gravity's
Why
the
did
only
that fall?
actual-
No, because gravity is effectively pulling the air underneath that.
One's going up, one's going down.
This is Mr. Cheswick, who's come into the frame.
Oh, is that Mr. Cheswick? Is that dipshit? It's like, yeah, he nailed my foot to the table. He nailed my head to the table. He looks like someone out of that fucking Piranha Brothers documentary.
Technically will be anti-gravity.
No, anti-gravity is completely different concepts.
Well, that's
Yeah, he looks slimy, doesn't he?
No, it's not reversing gravity, it's just that the medium
That's
around
what
it is
gravity
more
is the strongest
dense, so it goes underneath it.
Why don't we sink in the Dead Sea? You know the Dead Sea where it's very
Because
salt.
of the density.
Right.
The density of the water means that you're less dense. Not that you're like lighter or that
So
you're
where does gravity fit into that?
Because it's pulling the water underneath you.
Right, but we know it's not a pull because Einstein said so.
But it is. It is a pull. It is a pull. It's the effect. It's the effect on a mass which pulls it towards
Right,
it.
so you believe it's a pull? Is there any science that shows gravity to be a pull?
It's a pull, okay, so it's a force acting downwards.
Force, right? But we know
A force acting downwards. And
Right, well we know that Einstein said it's not a force, and we also know he defined down as a direction in which time travels more slow. So how is this a force?
You can't use up. Personally, I would never use up and down because up and down.
Einstein said in general relativity, it's not a force.
relative to the ex-military Dave. I'm very suspicious.
But he did say that gravity is one of the 5 fundamental forces in nature. So he did say that.
Dave, just say that into that lens. Up and down is relative. Just say that to that lens. Why?
Because I'm not going to do anything you ask me.
Oh, okay. No, because you're one of them.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Okay, then.
That is completely
Right, just for the record, she did say that up and down were relative states.
Yes, up and down are relative. Absolutely.
Directions.
Up and down can only be used in terms of quarks.
What's a quark?
It's a fundamental particle.
Is it real or is it virtual?
Real.
Really?
It's been proven.
Really?
Hey, Ronnie.
Look at CERN.
Well,
yeah.
That's the
Up, down, top,
It's not
one, three,
that's actually what they do in CERN. I've been there. I've seen the research. I've looked at the equations.
Yeah, and I've seen. Have you looked? Well, all right. Let's move away from quark. I'll give you the quark one for now. I want to move away from it. What I want to get back to is how do we prove in science that the Earth turns, that we've got gravity, or that the Earth's got a curved surface? We've got to measure something,
Because
right?
of your first scientific method, you come back to, you observe it.
Right. So
you observe the stuff's moving.
Right. So where do we observe? That's still gravity, right? Where do we observe?
All right, then we measure it.
No, stars. The sun. Stuff is moving somewhere.
Right. So you think looking into the sky proves the shape of the Earth?
It proves that there is an occurrence.
Yes, we can use the sky to prove the shape of the Earth. We absolutely can. Same way as we can use the sky to navigate on the surface of the Earth.
That we need to sort out.
Right. What's causing it? Earth turn or sky turn?
Well, that was the first question, wasn't it? Of
so how do we prove which is
Copernicus
so we've
versus
got
Galileo?
there's 3 ways we can prove momentum in this context. We've got mechanical gyros, ring laser gyros, fibre optic gyros, and we don't have anything else that goes beyond that science at the minute. They are the 3 sciences, and none of them prove that the Earth's turning. The mechanical gyros show no 15 degrees.
Don't gyros measure? This is just a question. They measure level, like the plane of something, not its momentum.
No, a mechanical gyro maintains rigidity in space. If you hold the gimbal and then move the gimbal all the way around it, the gyro will stay still.
Yeah, but that's measuring plane, not
measuring what?
The plane that it's in, not momentum. Yeah, momentum is a movement.
That's right. But
so how does putting something still measure, and the fact that it moves in the same way?
But Anthony, if a mechanical gyro compass will find north all on its own just by being spun up because of the spin of the Earth.
Stay still, the gimbal around it moves. That gives you your...
But what's moving it?
Nothing.
Well, there is something that's moving here.
It's not moving. It doesn't move. That's what I'm saying.
You just said it's moving.
No, if the Earth's turning, the gyro will move. The gyro maintains rigidity in space, but the gimbal around it moves.
No, because it doesn't. Gyros don't measure momentum. They measure plane.
No.
They measure the plane that something's on. If you sit something in a plane,
gyros
you
measure
then
momentum.
move it around.
That's right.
That's not measuring momentum.
Well, you're moving it around, so what's that if it's not momentum?
It's measuring the plane. It's measuring the flatness of something. You're measuring what's in the middle isn't moving. Regarding that's not momentum.
The gyro is...
Momentum is how much something is moving over a period of time.
The gyro is not moving in the middle. It maintains rigidity in space.
The gyro is the whole...
The hand around it moving it is showing the momentum of the hand around it moving it. But the gyro will stay still. It's the gimbal around it that moves that demonstrates that we're in an
So you're saying the gimbal is space and the gyro is Earth?
No, I'm saying that the gyro maintains rigidity in space. And if the Earth is turning, the gimbal around it must turn with the Earth. Because the gyro is not moving and it doesn't stay locked to the Earth. It maintains rigidity in space. So the gyro's gimbal has to show that momentum of the Earth turning.
No, because you're applying 2 different concepts.
What's the first concept?
Right, it does show precession. Gyroscopes precess. Just by sitting there.
You're saying that there's a stationary object with something that's forcibly being moved around it,
Yeah,
and
that would
therefore...
be the Earth turn.
No, you're saying that there is something in the middle,
Yeah, the gyro.
and something is moving around it.
Yeah, the
You're
Earth.
then saying that the Earth, that when you just place it by itself, it's not moving.
Yeah.
But your first argument is that there's something moving here, so when you leave it alone, of course it's not going to
We're
move.
at crossways, a gyro. Fucking hell, he's loud. A mechanical gyro maintains rigidity in space. The gyro itself, the spinning disc, does not move.
But what's there to move?
The Earth turns.
But that's not how momentum. That's not momentum.
Yeah, it is.
No, it isn't. Momentum is if I run in that direction.
That's acceleration.
No, momentum and acceleration are linked. They are. What's the equation for momentum?
Don't use it more.
Let's think with physical. Like it's
right.
Momentum is
acceleration.
Yes, it's a.
There's a difference between velocity and acceleration. Acceleration is the rate of change. Whereas momentum is.
Acceleration is the rate of change of velocity.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But they're different concepts.
If the Earth's rotating, we've got two axes of rotation, right? We've got one axis that's measuring the turn of us as we go around in a ball, but the other one is measuring the actual momentum of going around a curve.
And that's angular momentum.
Yeah.
W becomes MR. There's no acceleration in that at all.
There is because we're on a curved path. The curved path is an acceleration.
But that wouldn't be picked up by a gyro because gyro.
It does pick
you'd
it up.
have to place a gyro at the centre of the Earth where it's stationary.
No, because you've got a rim velocity. We've got a tangential
gyros
velocity.
don't measure momentum.
They measure inertia.
They measure the inertia.
Inertia and momentum are different.
Like in a plane or a boat. As the plane or boat work around the gyroscope, they can tell the pitch, the yaw, the roll of the plane or the boat based on the gyro maintaining its rigidity.
I've got it. With a gyro, you have to like smack it or something for it to move, right? And then it stays moving, but the centre doesn't. So that is the model.
Between the gimbal and the gyro.
The gimbal. So the gimbal, if you like hit the gyro, if you hit the gimbal, that will move around the gyro in the middle.
Right, yeah.
The reason that doesn't work in space is because you're not at the centre of the rotation.
But we're not in space.
So no, you said in space.
No, it maintains rigidity in space.
What? Nothing moves.
The gyro doesn't move. You can move everything around it.
But why though? What would cause the gimbal to move?
An acceleration, of course.
No, an acceleration and a force are two different things. They're linked, but one needs to cause the other.
Right. So,
but if you place the gyro at the centre of the Earth,
what point are you making? Are you saying the gyro don't measure?
I'm saying that you're linking two different concepts and trying to make them equal the same. Having a gyro, if I left a gyro here, I just left it, it wouldn't move.
Yeah,
but if we're turning, it's because there's effectively a ball around them which moves with it. Clouds and stuff like that. We're all in a ball moving together.
A bike tyre. When you spin a bike tyre, the circumference spins around like that. Yeah. Are you saying that if you put a gyroscope on that, it won't show a movement?
I'm saying that that's not very
Maybe next time. A gyroscope.
Maybe next time.
We can measure 15 degrees an hour. We can get a clock mechanism.
That's because we're working on a macro scale. The gravity's working on such a large area that a tiny.
What gravity? Run about Earth then?
No, because it's the gravity that would move it. Because the force that would be moving is not the acceleration. It's the gravity in the centre.
The force that would move
but it would keep it solid because it's moving. It's so much easier to explain.
No, you're saying that it doesn't maintain rigidity in space.
It have to be moving so much quicker than.
You're arguing now that it doesn't maintain rigidity in space because it moves with the Earth turn. Is that what you're saying? That's not true. The gyroscope doesn't do that.
It maintains rigidity.
Yeah. So if the Earth's turning, the gimbal will move around it. The spinning disc in the middle stays. It never changes its position. If you keep it running long enough, it never changes its position, right? You can move all the way around it in any direction, and that disc in the middle will stay where it was. It maintains rigidity in space.
And that's the angles on which it's being acted upon, because the only force that would be acting is gravity, not the Earth's rotation. The angular velocity is angular momentum is not a force. It doesn't act.
Have you ever played with a gyroscope?
Yes.
Yeah, you can feel it resisting you as you move it, right?
Yeah.
But that resistance is what keeps it stationary. It maintains that rigidity always while it's spinning. Don't know why, it just does. But that's why you can move everything around it, and then you can see that stays where it was. Whatever angle you've got. Nice to see you, asshole.
Hey?
No. You bowled it, that's why.
I just thought it'd come down, just say, like, look, here I am going to make.
I appreciate you coming down, man. I really do.
Yeah.
Don't feel an asshole to everybody. We're all on the same side.
I just take the piss. I mean, so.
Anyway, that's Anthony Riley, his street activation or activism. But anyway, he got fucking schooled. Yeah, they I mean, and the two scholars, the two academics, weren't as polished as I would have wanted, but they were sort of foggy on certain subjects. But yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. That's all we got. Been on for 2 hours and 45 minutes. I think that's enough. So we'll talk to you later. Probably tomorrow. Tomorrow's my birthday. And if you guys want to show up, we'll probably show the Sleeping Warrior playlist. This thing. 32 videos. Basically like his whole channel. So ought to be a blast. And might come up with other stuff. Roger may have streamed, so we may look at him, but I'll make it a day of it. I think we could do that. So we'll have fun. So we'll talk to you guys later.